Good evening, everyone. I hope my voice is loud and clear. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we will be getting started now. Yesterday, we completed till the last section, which was more about, I guess, risk. And we'll be getting into now the quality management part of it. So, well, in this section, what we will be getting into, let's quickly at least have an understanding what do we cover in the quality part of it. I will be required to understand when I say quality, we will keep in mind that there will be a quality standard a company ideally should adopt. So we will be preparing a quality management plan, and that quality management plan will tell us what all we have to maintain in terms of how do we manage quality in this organization. So the quality management plan will sort of dictate and give us the guidelines and rules how the quality needs to be managed and will be managed by us and will be monitored and controlled from the quality control part of it. So basically the quality is because we have two jobs to be done here. One as quality assurance and then second job as quality control. Quality assurance is when we're doing the execution part, which is process. So quality assurance is about process. And then quality control is about, this is monitoring and controlling. Then this is the time when you look at the product, basically the end product. So when these guys actually make the audit as per the acceptance criteria, that will become the verified deliverable as per the acceptance criteria. They will have a checklist to audit and they will say it's okay. They will become the deliverable will be called as a verified deliverable. Now, in order to manage all of this, it is expected that a company should follow some sort of standard. Well, what can be that standard? Well, pick up an ISO as a standard. Doesn't matter what. Pick up Lean as a standard. Pick up Six Sigma as a standard. Pick up CMMI as a standard. Well, pick up Kaizen as a standard. Do whatever you want. Like, it's not about right or wrong. At least have some method in our structure in place so that we are following certain disciplined approach to manage quality. Well, honestly, these are different ways of continuous improvement. Well, you may pick up anything. It's just about standardization, being aware of things, documentation, proper procedures to be followed. So it honestly doesn't matter what you follow. All in all, we are looking for a continuous improvement because if we just maintain what we have, we will be obsolete, outdated for the world. So continuous improvement is required and you follow any standard, but should ideally have a standard. So companies should, as per the quality policy, it should declare that what kind of standard we are following. And then based on that standard, how we have adjusted our process to meet that standard. So we'll be using this help of the standard of the protocols we follow in the standards so that our process is aligned closely with this quality checklist we have as which is the acceptance criteria. So how my process will work and deliver the output as per the customer requirements. And while we do that, we will be using the standards and to guide us to get there. And whether did we achieve it or not will be checked by quality control team. So what are we maintaining here? We're talking about the quality. Who decides quality? The customer decides the quality. So customer is the one who will decide whether the output is good or bad. So if my process has an outcome of like 99% quality, is it good or bad? The answer is nothing. It's neither good nor bad because I don't know what is the customer target. The customer target is 95, you're doing a great job. 96, going great job. 97, great job. 98, go great. 99, you're on target. But if your target is 99.9, you're doing a bad job. So just output doesn't tell you anything. So primarily, the definition of target quality will always be about this is an output. Whether this output is good or bad can only be decided by the customer. Basically, you need to have a reference point, the targets. Based on target, now I can say it's good or bad. When you say the definition of quality, basically, your whatever product or service you're dealing with, how much does it satisfy the customer needs? It's what we call as quality. The conformance to the requirements given by the customer is going to be quality. So while we deal with it, what we will be working on, some sort of requirements given as product quality requirement, service requirement, like the requirements which is acceptance criteria. There could be some internal company policies which we will be keeping in mind. There will be some policy like a requirement specifically from the customer standpoint, which will also have to be followed. there could be some regulatory compliances by law we have to follow based on various industries and various in like a global organization we talk about. That's all we will be get. This is all what we will be getting into the quality domain here. Now let's kind of check this one. And if we move forward on the quality section, we will be first checking out the definition of quality, which is all what we just talked about. Degree to which the set of inherent characteristics fulfill requirements. You may have an output, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. Well, we will only be able to tell you whether it's good or bad when it fulfills the requirement, which is customer requirement. So you may have any output, it's neither good or not bad, unless I know what's the requirement. Well, the requirements could be based on the stakeholder, basically what technically the customer, compliance with the standards of regulation, or as a result of continuous improvement. So the targets will be defined at various levels, could be internal, could be external, could be product related, could be compliances. Those will be also kept in mind. So my output should always comply with these requirements, and these requirements will be set forth clearly so that people understand who are doing the job, that I have to ensure we do not violate these quality standards. So all in all, there can be standards coming from, or like requirements coming from different sections, not just only customer ones. There could be other requirements. And like a lot of times we, as a company, have a lot of stricter requirements also. It depends on what kind of work we're doing. Having said that, let's talk about this important section here. Well, for that, I will rather do some bit of sketch work because that's will help us understand it better. Okay, let's go and talk about this section, which is what we call as cost of quality. Now, when we say cost of quality, what we need to keep in mind. So when you talk about quality, is it, well, there's nothing called free, obviously. So there is a cost of quality, and this is actually broken into two segments: cost of good quality and cost of poor quality. So two sections. In order to maintain cost of good quality, means whatever you will do to ensure that your product or service is good, acceptable to the customer, that will be cost of good quality. And cost of poor quality is all about the mistakes you have done. That's also the cost. Technically, you have to bear that cost here. Okay, Diana, just give me a quick second. Is it just the, okay, quick one with everyone. Is it you getting the echo, or anyone else? You also getting echo? Is it okay now? Just I'll keep. Not sure what has gone wrong. Give me one quick. Okay, give me one quick second. Let me just try to go in on like a. Let me just try to do something with it. Not sure what has gone wrong. Give me one second. But allow me a quick moment. I'm just trying to check the settings here, which because this is not one change. Is it anything which is okay? Can I make somebody a host for a moment, and I'll just be back. I'll probably I'll try to join in back again once again. Just allow me one. AJ, I'm just making you the host right now. because you're right on top. I'll make you the host. I'll log out and log in again. Thank you, AJ. Just a quick check with everyone. Is my voice okay now? Is it audible, or there's still the echo that you can feel here? Is it better? Well, I've just had like, but there was no changes done. I'm not sure. Well, I just want to be sure. Okay. AJ, I, okay. So I will rather make you the co-host because I don't want to be taking chances here. I'm making you the co-host also here. So if you can just, you will have the access there. So I'm just going to share the screen now. I will share, start with this. Quick one. Hope we are good with this now and there's no issues from here on. Okay, quick one. So do let, I'll keep a close eye on the chat. Echo is still there. You still feel the echo. Is it only Diana, you? It's not clear. For some of us, it's the static in the voice. What is wrong? Okay, yeah, or just want to check. Well, is it you're able to hear me loud and clear? Okay. Okay, just let me like so I'll keep a close eye on the chat message and let's just check it out if in case that happens. I'm not sure what needs to be done. Uh, like because there's no change which has happened since yesterday. I'll just, but definitely would like to keep a close eye on that. So quick one here where I left here. It's the cost of good quality and the cost of poor quality is what we're dealing with. The cost of good quality is the cost that you will spend in order to maintain good quality, and that will be number one. We call it as preventive cost. So things that you will be investing to make sure the defects do not happen, the mistakes don't happen. So what kind of preventive cost will it be? Like research and development cost, like training, skills training for people. So for your staff, when you conduct the skills training, you prepare the documentation, the training manuals and all that. The work that the investment that you will be doing in these costs will be a part of preventive cost, which will be required, which will sort of help us to maintain good quality. So companies which are brand conscious companies, and honestly, the good companies will heavily invest here, because, and we'll talk about what will be the repercussion if you don't invest in this area. Well, let's talk, but let's first of all understand the breakup and then see how people actually, a lot of companies have a different mindset of handling this preventive cost here. Second one is what we call as in appraisal cost. Appraisal cost is the one we talk about: inspection, audit. So these are people from quality department people, audit people. So, well, when you hire people in quality, in compliance, in audit, their salaries have to be paid, and that's the cost for maintaining good quality. So you have people in quality and audits, you do all this job. These are expenses made, or rather say investment made to maintain good quality. Now we talk about the cost of poor quality, which is about internal failure cost. This is about defects. We will talk about rework. If the items are what you produce is complete damage, then you replace the item also. That will be completely lost, like the item is just lost completely. And then there are external failure costs. External failure costs, that means the defect has gone to the customer. Now the customer is calling in, like they could be legal, like somebody may go legal against the company. This is about warranty claims. This is about probably we talk about loss of brand value actually. So the customer, this defect has reached to the customer. I'm sure we have heard about a lot of companies, the car, actually they have done a mass recall of those cars which were sold, and a lot of big brands have done it. Why? Because they were, unlike Samsung, like Samsung, one of the bad, like a phone, they still don't allow you to carry that phone, or probably there's some tablet which they don't allow you to use, like carry that in aeroplanes, because there were a lot of incidents where it was blasted, because there are a lot of defects which have been seen in the past. So when this it reaches to the external one, this is disastrous, because now you lose you may be doing a lot of refunds here. Refunds will be done. That's a part of this. Now let's try to understand. This is all about the defects which we have, the mistakes we have made. Now the concept which comes in here is about, as a company, where should you be investing? What is that you should be looking for from an investment standpoint as a good company? Say, like, let's talk about a bad company rather to start with. If a company which is not so open in terms of mindset, they will say, why should I invest in this one? This is not my job. Well, why should I, and specifically this part, training people. Well, why should I pay for them? Because I am paying them salary. I'm paying you good salary. Why don't you go and get your training done? If you want to learn this skill and that skill, why should I invest in your training? You should go and enroll for some sort of program, take the certification, do whatever you want. That's your problem. Why should I do it? So the companies which believe that this cost is useless and practically it's waste of their money, which they should not be doing it. So they will save money here, definitely, because I'm not investing in the skills development of my training of my staff. I will save for some money here. So my preventive cost will go down significantly. But now, since the people are not trained enough, they're not skilled enough, I don't trust them. These people are not good enough. So I do understand that these people have a lot of levels, like different varied levels of capabilities and skill set. Some people will be like highly skilled, some people are not so skilled. So I know there is a lot of variation there. So I don't have the confidence in their abilities of the people delivering the job. And I do believe that I do understand my process, my system, my machines are not robust enough, and that will make error. So in order to cover up that error, I will hire a lot of people in quality. So such companies who do not invest here will be investing heavily in the quality department. The quality department will be huge. Audit department will be huge because they need to find those defects. They want to catch hold of defects. I don't trust the process. I don't trust the people. So the size of the quality department will be high. So salaries will increase because you have a lot of people to be hired here. Well, congratulations. You saved money here. Then I end up spending lot more money here, and that to a recurring money because you'll be paying salary every month on month. Well, that was short-sightedness. You try to save money once, but now you're going to pay the salary every month, and for that lot of people. Now it's not the end. You may have a lot of people, like say, probably I would have required only say 2 people to do the job of quality. But since the process is not robust and I don't trust the skill set, I may end up hiring 10 people. So I'm paying a higher salary instead of 2 people, I'm getting 10 people to do the job. And since the people are not trained enough, they will make error. With 10 people being there, they will find more errors. So when these people will start doing audit, they will find internal errors. They will find defects, rework cost will increase, replacement cost will increase, whatever they're able to find internally. So you automatically, because your internal failure cost will also go high because more people will find more errors. Now, you're still not doing 100% audit, 100% inspection, 100% audit is not possible. So some errors will still spill out of this and will go to the customer, and that will come as a big cost, like a refund, legal like issues, or somebody will take you to court. So that's a bigger loss when it goes to the customer. So a company which try to play smart here to save money and not invest in the people training and skill development ends up increasing the cost everywhere. This cost goes high, this cost goes high. But think about a situation when a good company, a smart company, I would say, well, it's illogical to go ahead and do this way. I'll rather invest in the research and development. I'll make my process, my machines robust enough, do maintenance stuff and all that. So make my system, my machines, my process so robust, invest heavily in the training and skill development of the people, do a lot of documentation. So I will have lot of trust in the process, in the system. Since this process and system is so robust here, I don't need too many people here. So my cost here definitely increases, but now this cost will go down. And yes, they will find, because their good system is good, you'll have less errors, and these people will find some. I won't say no, but they will find some, and very rarely something will go out. Well, bottom line, you will, if you compare, this is going to be any given day a lot more better proposition rather than saving money here and paying 3 years. Here you just paying increasing cost here, but then it gets settled everywhere. Bottom line, that's more of a mindset how you see a lot of companies behaving, and this is how you well, as a project manager, I will also be promoting the first of this option where I invest in the training of the people to make system robust enough. So that is the job of a project manager, to train the people, coach the people, because we understand cost of good quality, and specifically the preventive one is more important, because you invest there, every other cost will go down significantly, which is what we want to promote also as a project managers. So this is what we see here. Let's kind of quickly have a look at this one. In the meantime, before we get there, I hope voice is okay. I'm like, I just still want to be checking this out. Well, is it okay? Because and specifically Diana, I guess just want to be sure if the voice is okay. And perfect. Let's then quickly talk about this. Just have a quick look at all these elements what we have here. So first thing first, we have the prevention cost. When you talk about prevention cost, basically making sure the process system is robust enough. That's the one. So training, documentation, working on maintenance of equipment, doing things right. Bottom line, making your system robust, good enough. That's what we should be investing in. We should be promoting this one. That's all what needs to be done. And then you will see nothing else. Like, I won't say zero is not the case, but rest everything will go slow, will go down significantly here. Now, Mr. Amjad, I would like, when we probably take a break, I will probably do a complete like a reboot. I guess that will make sense to kind of do this. I'm not sure, like, because it just started the first session, but again, definitely want to be checking this out. Okay, coming to this appraisal one. Well, this is, we talked about testing and inspection. If you find errors internally, well, you have rework and scrap part, and then external ones will be warranty claims, refund, loss of brand value, legal stuff, and will come into picture. Same thing we just talked about. So I hope it's okay and clear with everyone. COQ, cost of quality. Is that fine with everyone? Okay, let's then go ahead and talk about the next. The second one. Basically, you need to have a quality management plan. That's what we talked about. So you need to have a quality management plan. So every company, like that's what he has said, your organization should have a quality policy. Everyone should have it. If you don't have it, you should one. Look at bottom. If your organization does not have a quality policy, then your project needs to create one. You must have certain guidelines, certain rules. Without rules, without guidelines, you're working like a without a direction. So yes, everyone should have a quality policy, some sort of declaration that this is how we will do the job. It will give us a like a roadmap for us to ensure everyone has a clarity what needs to be done. So quality policy will tell us like what do we do, how do we do it, how like basically like I have to make sure that people start don't taking decisions based on their interpretation. While we have to do this job, people can always refer to the quality policy if they have a some sort of confusion. So rather taking their individual decision, because your interpretation could be different from mine. So we want to always refer to a standard quality policy. And that will be as per my quality management plan. I will develop a quality policy which will tell us how this process will work. Keeping in mind, we have to deliver the customer output deliverable, which should be acceptable to this, with as per the list that we have created, the agreed acceptance criteria. So process will be handled by the quality assurance team, which is their job. All we have just talked about. So pretty much the quality control part will come into picture when you have delivered the output. And yes, quality assurance team believes that they have done a good job, but whether they have done a good job or not will be only verified only by the quality control team, because they are the one who will be doing statistical sampling. And typically people coming from the background of Six Sigma will have a bigger role to play in the quality control part, because you do all your statistical sampling, quality audits and all that. We'll see some of them as we move forward. So what can be a part of your quality management plan? Just again, set of guidelines and rules. Basically, it will tell us how you like your activities and your resources will be engaged to deliver the output, which is as per quality. So the work must be oriented towards the quality objective. Well, it says formal, informal. I would disagree with that. Well, bottom line, it is formal. Well, there's nothing called like a vague thing. Quality must be clearly defined. We do not want to have like a discrepancy there. And you continue to review as and when the deliverable is done. You continue to review it throughout the project, and you do that. Like so, it helps you to kind of ensure that your work is always been done to deliver value and not output. My objective is not to create an output. My objective is to deliver value. So I have constructed a house for you, and you are not able to live in that house. That house is just an output and not a value add. So what I'm trying to do is ensure the project is working towards delivering value and not just output. Output can be any output. It is not good. I need value delivery. And well, when we are oriented towards quality, like we are value delivered, so we will have less of defects. Will be if we have done investment in the preventive part, we'll have less cost. Those costs reduction, the defect will go down. Definitely, you will have less of the schedule overruns because of rework. Because you don't do errors, you will not have to do it again. So your schedule will not get impacted, because if you have made error, defect, you will continue to solve them, and that will take more time. So your project will take more time, and then you'll have problems with your schedule baseline. So yes, if you're quality oriented, you'll do the job once, it will be complete. You'll do the job once, it will be complete. Rather than you do the job, there's error, you again do the job, again there's error, which is the cost will increase, the time will increase. Both your cost baseline and schedule baseline is completely dependent on this one. So yes, it's very much important for us to make sure our team is clear about what needs to be delivered. And yes, we have a clear mindset that we're not working towards output delivery, we're working towards a value delivery, which is acceptance criteria. So people should have clarity what is it. So that's why I said I'm not in like I would highly be a bigger supporter of this part when it's formal. Yes, it's formal, it's clear. We can't have it like a vague thing. because then it is always going to create confusion. So it's very clearly articulated what is needed of the customer, and my team should be working to deliver exactly that. So we cannot have a discrepancy there. Vague things are not written in the quality policy because we do not want people to have a difference of opinion and then work as per their interpretation. Well, then the company will be a chaos. It will be chaos because 100 people will read that document and understand it differently. So we don't want that to happen. It has to be clear, and because otherwise we will have a dispute which will happen because customer explained something and we understood something, there will be a problem. So it has to be crystal clear. While we are going to work on this, we will be collecting requirements from the customer about quality, which is the acceptance criteria. But again, as we have discussed, there are different kind of quality requirements that we have to keep in mind. We will be talking about government regulations, because your job may be, well, some of the regulations may be applicable to you. Some of the government regulations, at times, its environmental clause are applicable, and it's depending on what kind of job you're doing. There could be some internal organizational policies which are which will be applicable, which is by default applicable to all of us. And product and project report, whatever, this is acceptance criteria. So whatever you're delivering, the acceptance criteria that's agreed and negotiated, that's one. And yes, given that with the project risk, well, something may go wrong. So yes, we have to keep in mind those factors and ensure that they are like, if something goes wrong, how does it impact my quality? Like, so whatever the quality policies we have, if something goes wrong, how does it impact my quality parameters? I have to keep that in mind. Okay, what is the best time to do quality check with the predictive one, right? Well, bottom line, see, you are doing the planning part. In planning, there's nothing happening. The moment you do the execution happens along with monitoring and controlling. They happen at the same time. So as the work goes on, it gets monitored and controlled. So they are not done separately. It will be during execution. You prepared a plan, and as per the plan, you start doing the job in execution. And monitoring and controlling will always happen with execution. Always. Is it clear? Well, monitoring and controlling cannot be done differently. Can I give you a quick example just so that we can remember this? I'm just going to give a quick example so that we always remember execution and monitoring and controlling happens at the same time. Very simple day-to-day life example. I'm going to make a tea. Well, if I make a tea, practically, so well, I have these 5 process groups: initiation, we have planning, we have execution, we have monitoring and controlling, and then we have closing. Just to keep in mind, like the entire process groups in making a cup of tea. Initiation is where we want to plan basically we don't have a project charter for making a tea, but we are planning that we will be having a cup of tea. We'll be making a tea. That's what it is. So in the planning part, what will I do? Like in terms of scope and all that, I will try to keep in mind, well, how many cup of tea, basically that we have to keep in mind, what kind of resources we'll have, like the raw material and everything, all that planning will be done. Now, while you're doing this, we'll all get all the resources with us. We start the preparation of the tea. We sort of boiling it. The boiling process goes on. You add things in a certain sequence as per the project management plan you created for making the tea. You start doing the job, like you put the water, you put whatever, like the ingredients in it one by one in a certain sequence. Then you put it. While the work is going on, well, this is where I want you to keep in mind. Like, so you adding the ingredients, and now you see that there is like this, you put that at a certain temperature and boil. So when the boil goes up, well, do you just, when the execution is happening, do you let it be there when the tea is, the process of what you brewing the tea, does it just leave it, or you constantly monitor, because you are also adjusting in the execution? Are you not adjusting the temperature, the knob, to see whether like it should not spill out? So we are doing that. You're constantly looking at and adjusting the knob also, because if the temperature is high, it will sort of spill out. So you adjust, it goes down again. You kind of do that. So while the job is being done, you are constantly monitor and control to see whether it doesn't spill out. So you kind of adjust the flame accordingly so that it doesn't go out. So anything which has been done, you monitor and control at the same time. Work is being done. Is it good or bad? Will be constantly monitored. It doesn't happen at a different time interval. And then pretty much you have a cup of tea. So all in all, this will always happen together. When the work is going on, you constantly monitor at the same time. And yes, what you're doing, it may be good, it may be bad, and that's why you have to adjust it accordingly. That was a quick answer for that one. Having said that, whenever somebody will have like, because when the job has been done, things may go wrong. So we'll have to define certain classification of the defects. Well, the issues will happen. So we may have to define that our policy should say what is a low risk defect, what is a medium risk defect, or like error violation done, or a high risk one. So we should have a clarity when if somebody commits a mistake, which is a low risk like a impact or a medium risk impact or high risk impact, what will be the consequences? What will be the recommended action? Well, probably at a low risk defect, you might put this person on some sort of feedback or plan. Or for medium risk, you might want to you might impact this person's incentives or bonuses. And probably at high risk, I may even end up firing this person also. So depend on, we have to define the quality policy should clearly define what will be the procedure or documentation, like what will follow in order to call, well, somebody makes so and so defect, what will be the repercussion of penalty clause allowed. So determine the threat to the compliance, basically, by everything that you have as a risk part of it. If something goes wrong with that particular, if in case something goes wrong, what will we do? Well, so you'll have to have like every compliance requirement that we have, if in case we make a mistake. So this is going to be part of my risk. If this doesn't go as per the plan, what will be the problem? We'll have to keep that in mind, the risk factors which are associated with this. Analyze the consequences of non-compliance. Pretty much, if something goes wrong, what will be the implication? Specifically, if it's a government regulation, then it will be a big problem. So you have to keep in mind that is a part of your quality management plan. And look at this. It says, determine necessary approach to an action to address compliance needs. So if somebody has made a mistake, which is a violation of probably the internal company policy or external company policy, like probably the client policy, like a requirement, or for that matter, government one. Well, what will be our like a action plan? What kind of violence, what kind of damage we expect because of that? And there, which risk category does it fall into? A low risk category, a medium risk category, or high risk category? And accordingly, we'll have some sort of action plan documented in our quality management plan, which will, as per quality policy, will take corrective action for that. So all in all, basically, we'll have to collect those requirements so we can discuss about what can be done for such violations. Violations will happen. Things may not always go as per the plan. So yes, you will have to take those corrective actions also as you go forward. Now, quick one, this section is you always and always cost reduction. Can you explain one more time? Cost reduction in quality management. So when you talk about cost reduction, it's more about when you're dealing with the project and you're delivering the job correctly, then you will be able to do the job clearly. See, keeping in mind, you might have factored in some sort of risk management, like in risk contingency reserve. You would have planned for some contingency reserve. So if I have, and you have, so when you created this cost baseline, the cost baseline, you had also factored in something may go wrong. And for that, you have already factored in some contingency reserve is already there as per the plan. Now, what will happen with that? Like as per the, like a contingency reserve, you will have to keep in mind and there was some rework related budget you have already planned. So if you're able to make sure that the process works as per the quality, will you be able to save that budget? And will that result in cost reduction? Because if you're able to do the quality job, you will not end up touching that budget, that funds, and you will have surplus of funds to deal with it. So cost reduction, because if you do not, then you will have more budget. Like you will be probably you might end up using more than what was planned. So you may have planned, say $5,000 might be required for doing a rework or defect correction. And you might, because if my quality work is not quality oriented, I might end up exhausting that budget also. Probably I might require to have a change request done to increase that, because there's unexpected defects have happened a lot. So yes, it will result in cost reduction. If my work has been done properly, I may not require, and work will be done with lesser time, lesser budget, and I will be able to work on cost reductions. The quality projects are ideally done for nowadays. When you talk about Six Sigma, Manoj, again, most of the company, the biggest crisis today is cost. Everyone is trying, you talk about anything, everything boils down to money. So most of our Six Sigma projects across the globe, nowadays they talk about cost reduction project. So you do a cost reduction project by improving the quality. So quality gets better, cost gets better. That's how they do it. Is it clear? It's all about making sure the defect doesn't happen. Cost goes down automatically. Now this section here, there are certain terms we have to understand, because you always get a question around this. Everyone gets a question. So, well, I would definitely recommend you to and try to understand from a concept perspective, what does that mean here? So first thing first, a standard. The term standard should mean, we should understand, it is not, first of all, not mandatory. First thing, It is not, a standard is not mandatory. What is a standard? Like ISO is a standard, Lean standard, Six Sigma as a standard. It's not mandatory. Well, my company doesn't follow ISO standard. Does it mean I'm bad? No. So, but it is good to follow it's a best practice. Globally, there are ISO standards are there. Why somebody has created ISO standard? Well, somebody like if I have an option to give business to two different I have to choose between two different vendors, and I have not worked with those vendors ever before, and I will be start I'll have to take a decision. One of the vendor uh, has has been using ISO standard and has displayed all the credentials or has been using Six Sigma. It's kind of shown all that in the profile. Another one has never done all that stuff. Well, I have not experienced anyone's job, but since I know that this guy has been following standards, some sort of I develop a trust and confidence in the ability. So it helps you to kind of develop a trust, even though you don't know the person's job. So if you have the standards, it will help you like determine, like ensure that the people have trust in your abilities to deliver the job. Having said that, they are not mandatory. They're best practices, and we should follow them. So we should adopt some standards. But please keep this in mind. They are not government mandated. They're not guidelines or like rules which have to be followed. So they are best practices. And ideally, yes, it's good to follow standards. So you can use that. Like keep this in mind, like an ISO standard, not mandatory. Now comes regulation. This is mandatory. This is 100%. When talk about regulation, it is something which is mandated by government, some sort of government clause which comes into picture says this is what you have to follow. Well, bottom line, you have to follow that. There is no choices. So regulations will be something which is mandated by government. When the law's been passed, so this regulations will always come by the government. Some like global government, like a authority, will be passing that regulation. You have to follow that. There is no ifs and buts. Don't have a choice to challenge that. Like for example, environmental clauses and all that. So various regulations are there which are passed by government in various countries. You just have to follow it. There is no choice of not following a regulation. You will have to follow that. Now, when we use this word de facto standards, I guess I was informed by one of somebody in the previous batch. This word, this word on technically this word, I was informed it's an Italian word. I'm like a by somebody, but I'm not too sure about it. It's an Italian word. I think that's an Italian word. Me too, but again, not too sure about it. But having said that, what we mean here, I'll talk about this one first, and then I'll talk about this one. Whenever they are like in the question, it explains about some scenario and talks about de jure standards. The moment you word jure means law. And that's when you talk about courts, the court, not the government, but the court. There will be penalty. Some sort of violation has happened, and you talk about penalty clauses associated with that. So whenever the question talks about a de jure, that means a law. A government is not law. Please keep this in mind. Regulations is government, some sort of guidelines which are there, but government does not put a penalty. Penalty will come from the court. So the implications, the penalties, and the whatever the consequences will be imposed by the law. So if you don't follow regulations, yes, it can lead to de jure, like the court will come into picture. So then we talk about the moment you involve the word jure is to deal with jurisdiction, basically the law part of it. So whenever you are given a situation and they talk about some sort of penalty being assessed or some sort of consequence, somebody for making doing an offense, somebody has been put behind bars. That's all about de jure part of it. So the word with the moment the question or the has to do with penalty, it is talking about law. That means some sort of penalty will be there, or some other probably imprisonment kind of thing. Bottom line, there is a penalty has been assessed. This is by law, by court. But regulation is about government. Government cannot put somebody behind bars. Government can roll out these guidelines and rules, and basically they are not a choice. And if you don't follow, yes, this could lead to this. But having said that, when you talk about de jure, that means court has come into picture, and this is basically a penalty clause will come into picture now. Now comes this de facto standard. De facto standards are something which is generally widely accepted. And let's just talk about something which will give us an idea. The word wanna, let me. Are there words like this? Wanna, let me. Are they actually words like this? They're slangs, right? Yeah, they're slangs. They are all understood. Everyone has understood. We all understand these words. They're widely accepted, spoken by people, and trust these slangs would vary from country to country, people to people. We understand, but it is widely accepted. Generally, there's no term like that, but people have customized and created such terms, and they are okay with it. They have been able to develop that understanding, but it is not a part of a dictionary. But again, it's quite possible over a period of time when people follow it, it might become a part of it, like a specific word, and it might become a part of dictionary. But technically, it's a common way. We all speak about it, we all understand it, but it's not actually a formal word. So it's widely accepted jargons, slangs used by people, and they are not coming from a dictionary, but it's widely accepted. Yes, it's quite possible such de facto standards will become a part of like some sort of dictionary when it becomes widely accepted. Or eventually, things will become a part of dictionary. But yes, for now, well, people understand this. We have customized things. These are generally the slangs we're talking about. So correctly mentioned, there's slangs. So de facto standards are things, something which will vary from people like area to area. People use a lot of it. And it's more about like widely accepted by the people, not by a set of like experts or authorities which have sort of passed it. No, but people have been using it, and they're happy using it. Everyone speaks about it. Everyone understands it, and that's how we deal with de facto standards. So one word, one liner, like one word kind of meaning to keep in mind. These are best practices, not mandatory. These are they are not choices. They are like guidelines and rules which are imposed by the government, and technically that's the government which will come into picture. It's like a general common slang, as you can understood, and it's but some sort of court has come into picture. Court, like some sort of penalty law will come into picture. That's what the DGO standard is all about. So you might be given a scenario, and they might tell you, well, which kind of standard has been talked about here. So they might give you these 3, 4 options, and they'll say select the right one. So you got to keep in mind, given the scenario, are they talking about a standard being practiced in the scenario? Are they talking about a general, some sort of government regulation? Or they're talking about like a penalty clause, or for that matter, general common slang being discussed there in that scenario. So we got to have that one word, like sort of meaning out of these things. That should be good enough. Quick check with this one if it's okay and clear. Okay. All right, let's then, well, every industry has different, like different kind of industries, different kind of standards. So, well, we can't go into every industry, but again, there are a lot of industries. Well, healthcare industry has a lot of, lots and lots of standards. It's a regulated industry. Automobile industry has a lot of standards. At least I know one, which is because dealing with automotive. I guess for healthcare, which is HIPAA, I guess what is that? Anyone from healthcare? Because automotive, I know it's the standard basically AIAG is what is the standard, which talks about all automotive things. HIPAA, okay. HIPAA is what we have. So HIPAA is what we use. And like for example, we were into debt collection. There was something called FDCPA. We were like I do remember we were into debt collection like in a BPO, and they were using FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, again US based. So all those things are there. Various rules and guidelines are there for various industries. So again, well, they are standards, good to know. Well, bottom line, certain law, that's FDCP was not a choice, but by the way, but again, there are different US FDA standards. Yeah, for the pharmaceutical industry, yes, US FDA standard. For selling the medicine, you need to have the approval done. You're right about that. So without that US FDA approval, you can't sell the medicine. You can't actually manufacture the medicine. You need their go ahead. Once they have approved, that's when you are able to manufacture this and sell it. You're right about that. So again, well, you have some, as I said, we talked about internal standards, external standards, government mandated regulation standards, and all that are there. All in all, you will have to have something. Something is required. Well, it doesn't matter what you do with it. Bottom line, every acceptance criteria, the list that you have prepared, you will be dealing with that checklist. And like so, we know acceptance criteria is talked about in case of predictive, definition, and agile. So you will have the metrics where for every single element, you will have some sort of discussion when you're doing a discussion with a customer and preparing that checklist of acceptance criteria. You will have discuss, and you will also discuss about tolerance. How much of plus and minus is acceptable, because what you exactly ask for, I may not be able to deliver that exactly always. So some bit of plus minus, we will agree with the customer. So the tolerances will also be agreed for something. Say if I'm making a wall, the wall thickness has to be like say 4 inches. Well, will it always be all at all the point 4 inches? No. So sometimes it will be plus minus say 0.5 inch. Probably it could be there. So I will have this, well, in certain cases, it will be plus and minus 0.5 inch. That kind of tolerance will be there. So my team should understand that, okay, the target is 4 inch wall, but again, they are okay with, right? So this is acceptable. So we at no point in time, if customer, if this, what it means that the wall can be anywhere between 3.5 and 4.5 inches, and that is acceptable. So if it's less than 3.5 inch, it's a bad, it's a defect. Customer, if it's more than 4.5 inches, it's bad. So bottom line, that kind of tolerances will be agreed. We will discuss with the customer. So when the customer is giving you the clarity, what I want, we'll also discuss with the customer about tolerances, because my team should know what is the target and how much of variation is allowed, so that we can work within those limits. In order to maintain this, our team will create a lot of checklists, templates, documents, basically, and as per the quality management plan. How? Because, and this job will be done by quality assurance team. The quality assurance team is going to understand that document, will ensure the process, policies, procedures, documentation, training, and all that part is taken care of by them, so that my team is well versed with the like how they need to do the job, so that they deliver the job as per the quality checklist we have prepared here. They will prepare all the audit sheets and all that, and basically they will try to ensure while the work is happening, it is working as per this thing. Well, did it work? Yes or no? That is the job of quality control team. Now, adaptive team, we don't have all this stuff. Bottom line, we don't have anything of that sort. Why? Because in adaptive, we have simple logic. We know demo is when the final discussion happens. And this product owner will tell you, because we had discussed the DOD definition done when we pulled the items to the product, the sprint backlog. We asked the product owner to tell us, okay, what is the definition of done? So my team will start working on the sprint one. When the sprint one got completed, we had a demo session. This is when this guy will give us the feedback and say, hey, okay, say this is good, this is bad, this is good, whatever. This guy gives me feedback. Now that's what my team is going to do, sit down in retrospective, and we'll discuss it. So my quality checklist is happening. This guy gives me feedback during demo, and we do the retrospective. We'll look into it and what went well, what did not went well. So we will try to see what was like, why there was a variation in what we understood and what the customer was looking for, because the definition of done was clear. What? Well, because this guy said probably we need to have an about us page, and this alignment has to be, probably we have to use a font or so and so. We did not understood it correctly, but whatever it could be, some sort of website stuff or some application, whatever was explained there, probably we did not understood correctly. So during the retrospective period, we will be having a discussion. We don't have to sit down and make a quality management plan. Why? Because this is done for a shorter duration. For this period, this 2 weeks is what we're planning. So we can't sit down and make a plan, because whatever you're planning, you're just planning for this 2 weeks. This 2 weeks job is done. And so it's a very shorter cycle. So we don't have to sit down and plan like in predictive, because here the feedback cycle is quite short, quite short. We will be doing all that job. And so we don't have to sit down and do this intense work of doing it like this assessment of planning and kind of doing all this. It's not complicated. Agile is like very straightforward. Includes Scrum Master. Well, Scrum Master, in case of this job, this person's job is to ensure we remove the impediments also. So that will also be part of the Scrum Master. Scrum Master will definitely be part of it, because the role of a Scrum Master is to also remove impediments. If the team is struggling to get past something and they are facing some trouble, this Scrum Master will also pitch in. So we'll definitely, yes, include Scrum Master somewhat, yes, without any doubt. Is there a separate budget for quality management plan, or is combined the project budget? Oh, it is the quality, based on what the quality part is, what will go into the because this is the money that you have planned for, and if it does not go well, then it will be in the quality part. So when you talk about the cost baseline, there's already in it. This is already factored in it. So it's not additional one. And you said yes, in the standard meetings, we'll by default be discussing it. Yes, you are. So while we are having certain within by every day, and also we have those meetings. You're right about that. The standard meetings we have a discussion about the impediments that we face. You're right about that. So if I'm facing a problem, I'm not waiting for the end. Well, practically I delivered the job today. Tomorrow we are going to have a discussion. What did we finish yesterday? What are we planning for today? And what were the impediments used? So absolutely correct. Yes, we will have that discussion. So because of the shorter cycle, the frequent feedback, we don't have to sit down and make a plan like that, because it's so, like I say, it's idly on the go, on the move. We do the job. It's more of a live way to do it rather than planning and doing it. We do the job and we face the problem. So on the go, we move things and we kind of solve this. So yes, in the stand-up meeting also, without any doubt, yes, that will be one more ceremony where it will be discussed and more frequently in the stand-up meeting. Absolutely correct. Yes. Now, quick check on this one if it's okay and clear. All right, let's then talk about the next one here. Quick list of general ways of continuous improvement. We talk about Six Sigma. Well, I've been talking about Six Sigma, Six Sigma. Well, people were either Six Sigma experts or people were lean experts. Now, honestly, nobody talks about lean or Six Sigma separately. Now we all got to talk about lean Six Sigma. Also, lean is very different. Six Sigma is very different. So people come from lean Six Sigma would already know that. Bottom line, lean is all about removing waste, unnecessary activities, unnecessary tasks, which will delay the process, the time. Lean is all about time. So remove waste means unknown, like those activities are non-value add for the customer. Things with the activities which have no impact on the customer or on the process, we'll just remove them because there are always so many unwanted activities there in the process. So by implementing lean, you remove the waste, which is unwanted activities, because everything takes time. And so the things which are done where there's no value add created, valuation add, you tend to remove by the implementation of lean. And Six Sigma is more about data-driven approach. It's a data-driven approach to reduce the defects in the process. You have 5 different phases, which is we call DMAC phases. We define, in defined phase, we select a project, whatever project, could be quality, could be cost, could be production, could be sales, do whatever you want. Some project has to be picked up. Measure phase, you collect data, authentic, reliable data. You find what's your current Sigma level. That's what you do in the measure phase. In the analyze phase, you perform statistical testing. You analyze why you're facing the business problem and you apply certain statistical tests to find out the real root cause. When you found the root cause in the improve phase, you implement strategies to solve the problem. Whatever you identified as root cause, you will be implementing strategies and action plans to solve the problem and improve the process, achieve the target for which you started the project. And once your process has achieved the target, you sustain that improvement through control phase. Control phase is all about controlling the improvement, sustaining the improvement. So in Six Sigma, if the process improves, it stays improved. Why? Because there is an improve phase and there is a control phase. It will sustain this level. It will not fall back where it started from. Now, when this process has sustained this level, pick up a new project, achieve one more target and sustain it. Again, pick up one more project. So Six Sigma always work in a step ladder approach. This is the way how Six Sigma works. Improve, control, sustain this level. It's not going to fall here. Again, pick up another project, improve, sustain. It's not going to fall here. Improve, sustain. It's not going to fall here. Improve, sustain. So it's always with the control phase will come into picture. Control is all about sustaining. There's no point in going up and then going down. So it's always a step ladder approach which we work with in case of Six Sigma. Well, we talk about Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy, and Kaizen is sort of a byproduct of when you implement Lean Six Sigma. Well, Lean Six Sigma has to come first any given day. Lean Six Sigma has to come first before Kaizen comes up. Why? Because this is driven by the ground level staff. Ground level staff does the Kaizen part of it. Well, I won't say like other people not, but here it is an initiative which is done by the ground level staff. Lean Six Sigma is a top management approach. So people like you, me, will sit together and we'll plan the strategies. Could be like a 6 months, 1 year, 2-year plan for projects. And this Lean Six Sigma part. When you talk about Kaizen, it could be like Kaizen is 1 day Kaizen, 2 day Kaizen, 3 days, 4 days, maximum duration, sort of 5 days. These are not massive projects. These are small changes. Kaizen, 2 words. Kai is change and Zen is for betterment. So change for betterment is what we mean by Kaizen. It's a Japanese word. So what did we talk about? Small incremental changes are done. Small incremental changes. We don't try to make a massive change. We try to just make small changes. So we involve everyone in the organization to contribute. We're not talking about a massive, like a strategy, data. No, we've given you work area, whatever job you do perform. Well, if you figure out that there's some bit of modification I can do, I would love to make that changes. Well, we will bring those ideas together. We implement those ideas by Kaizen. And Kaizen, whenever you implement that, Kaizen is all about small incremental changes. You implement Kaizen through PDCA. PDCA approach is used to implement Kaizen. So what happens in a PDCA approach? Let's see how these two are interconnected, basically. So PDCA, P stands for plan. D for do, sorry, D for do, P for check, and act, A for act. Now, plan to check and act, plan and you collect ideas. Collect ideas from the people, from everyone in the organization. You collect ideas for improvement. Small suggestions like, okay, you have a trolley, and just you have to drag the trolley, and it's like 2 or 3 people will be required to drag the trolley, and it's like obviously when you kind of drag it, it's heavy, and a lot of people are required. And this is a trolley which has like a lot of things, like we kind of move the items in this trolley, and there are a lot of people required to kind of move it. You know what is Kaizen? Putting these wheels. That's it. That's it, Kaizen. Make the job easy. Like logically, I just did the job. It made the job simple, small observation. I see people have been pulling and pushing things in which are very difficult by putting the small bit of like this pulley, the wheels there. And that makes sure one person can simply drag and get the job done. So it's all about just finding small areas of improvement, and yes, people will come based on their observation. They will come up with some suggestions. So collect ideas, and when I say collect ideas, even a housekeeping guy will be involved. Even a housekeeping guy, somebody who is doing probably any kind of work, doesn't matter. Even you're probably a guy who is a supervisor, probably a security guard will also be involved. Bottom line, everyone in the organization participates in. So we collect ideas for improvement, because ideas are not just confined to people in leadership. Ideas are everywhere. But in general, who is going to go and talk to a ground level staff and say, oh, well, what's your idea? No, nobody will do that. So people will not generally go at that level and ask for ideas. But in Kaizen, yes, we will collect ideas from everyone. We got plenty of ideas. Like I put that 50 ideas we got, small ideas, basic suggestions. We can do this, we can do that, that kind of idea. In Kaizen, we say, well, you keep thinking. Well, you can make best of the plans, master plans on an Excel sheet or PowerPoint, but if you don't implement them, then you can make a fancy map. Like I can create a $1 billion plan right now on a PowerPoint and say mathematically this is how you'll make $1 billion in no time. Well, that planning will not help you unless you execute them. So execution is more important. So in case of Kaizen, we simply implement them. Well, it says what will happen was it will not work. That's it. That's it. It's no big deal. So implement those ideas. Don't think. If you think too much, you will become basically we call it as analysis paralysis. When you do too much of overthinking, will be problem. So here they say, okay, go ahead and execute it. Let's see what will happen. So you check whether did it work. There's in the check part, we just check did it work. You bring those ideas together, you just implemented them. Did it work? So well, when they say 50, hypothetically 5 ideas were great. So out of 50 suggestions, 5 were great suggestions. They work. Congratulations, appreciate people, award people, like reward people, make a big deal, make it a part of quality manual. These are innovative ideas. They have changed something, and this is good change. Well, we should appreciate them, make it a part of quality manual. Going forward, we will be doing these 5 tasks as a part of quality manual. 45 did not work. Well, did it fail? No. We will not use this word 45 fail. Never. We never fail in Kaizen. Kaizen never fails. Well, either you succeed or you learn. So we learned something, that this is now, like we learned some failures, but we learned something. It's not that we failed. We learned that this is not how it will work. And yes, in the act part, what you do, root cause analysis. Root cause analysis has to be done about what? These 45. Well, why did it not work? Do a 5 why analysis, try to go into deep why it happened, what went wrong, and yes, start again. It's never said like it's a cycle. PDC is a cycle. Plan, do, check, and act. Well, cycle goes back again, cycle goes back again, cycle. Never ending is Kaizen. Never ending. You never say, oh, it's over. Never, it's never ending. Kaizen never ends. Never ever ends. Because it's a loop. And you keep, well, whenever you're doing this, next time you do plan again, you have some old 45 ideas coming here. And by the time, say, people might have given you, say 5 more extra ideas, again, you're back to 50 or 10, 15 more ideas. So you keep rotating those ideas again. So you never say, it's never like, so I would say, I'd never say die attitude is what we deal with Kaizen. Coming to agile part, we already know agile, we're dealing with Scrum. Kanban method, we just compared. Crystal is also one of the agile, and there are like 50 plus methods. So we don't need to, bottom line, you have to follow some method, doesn't matter what, but have some sort of method to improvise your process. That's what we're dealing with. Is it okay and clear? These methods, what they are, high level at least, we have know what they are. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, This part is all about the project manager. Remember, there are subsidiary plans. We prep all subsidiary plans, your scope management plan, your schedule management plan, your cost management plan, your quality management plan, resource management plan, risk management plan, stakeholder management plan, communication management plan, all those plans that you have created. That plan, their plans were created like, yeah, we won't say that they were created in silo, but yes, they were created different time interval, different teams were involved. So, well, that's your job to integrate those plans. Integration is the job of project manager. So you will put those plans together, and this job cannot be given to somebody else. Well, your team can be with you, but you will put those plans together. When you put those plans together, you integrate them, you will see loopholes because, yeah, because there were different teams involved, they were happening at different time interval. So, well, there could be some gaps left over when you kind of look at when it's like a jigsaw puzzle. So you have different kind of pieces together. When you put the pieces together, you find some gaps in there, which you will be able to fix. And yes, then you have a master plan ready. So it's more about you have created different pieces, and yes, now you try to put that in and create a complete picture. Wherever you see gap, you will be able to fit in that gap. Right? So integrating plans is the job of a project manager. So what is that we do here? Integration part. And here with everything, the scope, schedule, budget, resource, quality, risk, everything. What you have got, well, integrated plan you have to do. So when you put that together, you will see the gaps and discrepancy wherever you have. So missing pieces can be highlighted. So you will be able to understand, like when you put a line, everyone can be still there. So it's not that you have to do it in silo in a closed room. No, your team can be there, but bottom line, it's your job to do it. You will be there. Your team will be there. You will be having question answers. So you will be able. They will be able to. When everyone sees the complete picture, it will be able to. And they will be also having better clarity how this entire project management plan will work. Because some people, like not everyone was involved in everything. Even when you handled various projects, well, you were a part of various projects. So you're not involved in every single thing that we've discussed. Well, you may be involved in some part of it. You may be involved in say procurement. You may be part of a quality part. You may have done the scoping. You cannot, one person cannot be everywhere. But when you put all those pieces together, so everyone gets to see a complete picture, that helps to everyone to understand how this entire project will work and how that entire plan looks like. The document that we created, that is what we're talking about. So how you have a complete picture of how this project will be working. This is complete. This will help you to kind of overall understand this. If there are gaps in there, you will be able to correct it. This integration is the final part when you have a master plan created, which is the project management plan, which is what we want to create here technically. So you joining those plans, putting them together, and well, you do that through some sort of software, this Microsoft project or whatever you have. But again, you integrate, your team will be able to see the plans better. And yes, let's have a quick look at this one. At the end of the planning stage, all the planning stage, whether you've done all the plans, combine all planning results from knowledge areas. What knowledge areas? Scope, schedule, cost, and all those plans we talked about. This is specific to project manager role. This task cannot be delegated. You can't tell one of your team member, okay, you do integration. No, it's your job. You got to do it. Well, agile one, let's talk about this one. We don't have a plan like that. So nothing called project management plan. So we know what is those agile, like we have a roadmap, we have the product roadmap, we have product roadmap, we have release plans, we have the product backlog, that process remains there. So we continues to go and work there. So that there's no plan out here by default. In agile part, well, bottom line, some part could be predictive, which will be handled through predictive. Whatever is agile will still handle agile. So that goes without saying. As a module is created, so whichever module fits into predictive will be handled through predictive planning part of it. And yes, the things which agile will definitely be handled through agile with an adaptive way of working. So no rocket science there. It's just about putting the things together. And yes, you see some gaps. Now, this is just a good, to understand what all will be covered in here when you're dealing with this project like change request. Remember the change request thing? Let's talk about, well, while you're trying to kind of look into when the project is going on, you must assign, like you can note everyone can raise a change request. So who can raise a change request? Definitely the project manager. But yes, you can assign somebody also who can raise the change request. While probably you may be busy, you may be occupied. So somebody can be assigned a change request that this person is also authorized to raise a change request. And that person's name should be mentioned in the team charter. Team charter is the place where you have to declare all those declarations, like who has authority to share confidential information. Team charter. You have to mention anything specific. You put that related to a person or team member, all details should be there. If somebody has authority to has been assigned authority. So people all know that who has additional authority to raise the change request, or for that matter, who can share the confidential information. It will be there. Now, what is a change? What will you raise a change request? Baselines. Whenever your baseline gets impacted, you have a change. So cost, schedule, and the scope. Three baselines. If your baseline gets impacted, change requests come into picture. What is the impact of change request? Bottom line, whenever you have so we know that story, we know the drill. Work performance data is there, which will go to work performance information, and then comes your report, work performance report, and then you have change requests, which are suggestions. You give suggestions that this is what I think we can do. So option one, we're not violating a law, like the guideline here. So whenever you're doing taking an action, the change control board will also be very, very careful about that. I hope by we approving or denying something, we're not violating something which is related to quality policy. So they will be aware of it. And yes, who does that? Who does that authority? The change control board does it. Who is a part of change control board? The sponsor, the other executive team members, the leadership team will be there, the business analysts will be there to guide them what is to be done, bottom line. But again, it's technically the leadership team, the board of directors and all those people will be there. Everything which is approved or rejected will be part of a change log. Every change request will be part of change log, whether it's approved or rejected. It will be documented. And yes, if there's a reason, whatever reason it was rejected, well, bottom line, all details about that change request will be there. So while work was, like it talks about, whenever the work is done, this additional part, how will you monitor these actions? So if the work has been done and something has been cascaded, well, you can use the different tools to kind of circulate information, share information if the work deliverable is completed. So you can use basically the information ready to relay information that so-and-so deliverable is completed. So your quality control team can get into it and check whether this job is completed or not. If in case that's the case, you can you will be, while you do this, you may be also looking at roles and responsibilities. So while to monitor the quality parameters, yes, you will be looking at who is doing the job, what are the quality parameters, like what is the plus minus tolerances. So while you're doing this audit and all, we'll be looking at all quality acceptance criteria, which quality metrics means acceptance criteria for everything. What is the target for every deliverable? What are the targets? How much of plus minus has been approved? That is what we look. Who is doing it? And yes, we will have to share information. We can use information radiator to cascade information to the people here. So all in all, it's all about how would you communicate the change request? If it's approved or denied, would you be like how it will be communicated to various teams and all. You'll be kind of looking into it. Basic elements of your change control board part of it. I hope it's okay and clear with everyone. Quick check on this one, if it's okay. All right, let's check out this one. This one is somehow unfit thing. Like somehow just they had a not like I've never been able to figure out why this slide is put in here. But again, if you can figure out why, you let me know. But again, that's it says plan and plan for complexity and change. It's like unfit things which just it doesn't fit in somehow. Anyway, it's good to talk about what is there. So when it says navigate through complexities, whenever things will not be working as per your plan, things are not right. Well, what are the different ways to deal with the complexity? So it's talking about some system-based approach. What says decoupling? So technically, decoupling is separating things. So, well, hypothetically, say like there's a team member A and team member B. They are not working together. It's not working for them. Decouple, separate them. That's what decoupling is all about. Decoupling typically means separating things, disconnecting it. Well, I am trying to for example, there's a train, there's a various compartments of the train, and say hypothetically we have got this particular compartment, which is there's a fire here. So first thing I will be doing is decouple this so that it does not spread. Bottom line, whenever you get into a scenario where at times it's good to navigate through complexity. It's a complex situation. To decouple keeps things separate, so you are able to think through easily. So at times, keeping things aside will give you a chance to breathe and understand. So you might just want to, like if there are some components while you're dealing with the project, if things are not working out, and yes, it has become complex, well, try to separate things so that you are able to see this as well, if you become a part of a problem, then practically it will be very difficult for you to take a decision. So at times it's good to separate things and then you see things individually because it may be complex. Well, typically I would rather use it here from a team management perspective. It talks about, I am not sure what they are referring to here, but again, that's what it is. These disconnected parts of the system to simplify it. Basically, whenever you have a lot of things going on, too many things messed up, try to disintegrate it and see it individually. When you look at things that are very complex, disintegrate. But this is more about disintegrating. When you keep things separate, when you separate it, you might be able to take an easy decision. When things are all messed up here, it will be difficult to understand. So put this piece separate, put this piece separate, put this piece separate. So whenever it's complex, try to simplify by keeping things separate and then have an overview of all this together. Looking at a picture like all messed up, all chaos created, you can't just take a decision with that chaos. So at times it's easy. It will be right way to take a decision to separate things. Simulation, we already talked about simulation. The Monte Carlo simulation, well, it is the way you prepare for complex scenarios where things which may happen on moon, we try to go and run those simulation exercises here while doing this Monte Carlo simulation with the tests and trials are done here on Earth by creating a moon-like scenario and to see, well, what kind of things you may come across. For people who are like pilots, when you try to fly, when you want to get a license to fly a plane, you have to complete your training, and that includes like probably some say I guess 1,200 hours something like that of flying and in a simulator. So there is an absolute simulator, and then you go through the turbulence and all those scenarios and difficult scenarios. There's a simulator which we have to kind of complete. I guess it's 1,200 hours. I'm not too sure about it, but again, there are a lot many hours. And once you complete your training, pass your exam and whatever it is, but plus you have to complete this 1,200 hours, and that's when you first try you get into the flying hours. So then you have to actually fly the plane, and again some 100 hours, like some again similar A700 or 1,000, depending on which country, you get the license to fly a plane. So well, this simulation has to be. You can't be left to go without facing those turbulences and challenges that an actual pilot will face through when you're flying the plane. When you do that in real time. So we want people to experience that while you're in the simulator. So it is actually going to give you exact feel of how a real scenario would look like. So when it happens, it will not be difficult for them. Like we do in Six Sigma, we do the projects. Well, after the training, we do simulation projects just to make sure that people are well versed when in a real world scenario. When you start doing a project, how you need to do it. So after the training is done, we give a data, we give a problem, and then we want people to do a simulation project so that a real world project, how it's done, they have a clarity. So when they actually pick up a project, it's not going to be a big deal for them. It will be easy. Now, this one is what reframe the problem. So if things have become complex based on like generally that is you have got diverse people from various backgrounds and all, it can create chaos. Yes, definitely, because you have new ideas challenging your idea, your thought process, and everyone has a difference of opinion, which is good. Well, ideally, we always talk about like earlier that we should embrace diversity. It's great. It's good. So if somebody is, we're being challenged, which is good, we should not look at it as a problem. We should treat this as it could be a complex situation because we have different ideas coming in. But again, we should try to understand there is a different perspective, and we have to treat this as a way to innovate and come up with a better solution. So, well, it has to be the mindset, the way to look at it has to be understood differently, because whenever you have diversity, it has to be embraced. It's not something to be scared of. And when things become very, very difficult, well, it's always said, and we always say the data speaks its own language. So go ahead and use data. Whenever things are difficult to explain and convince people, data has its own language. That's why we talk about statistics, we talk about Six Sigma. Well, because we don't have to educate, we don't have to explain. I'll tell you like a simple example. So when people are doing goal setting, so for a project, when you start, there's a target. Say probably we are doing 150 kilograms production per day. That's our current production. A project is supposed to be started, and the sponsor expects that we should do a project so that we can start doing 200 kilograms per day. Well, basically, tell me how did you come up with this figure, 200,000? Well, right now we're doing 150, which is understood. But how did you arrive that there's a possibility you can do 200,000? Well, you just had a vague discussion. I can ask you, give me the logic about this. So you can't also make such a comment, because the management will instantly ask you, help me understand, how do you arrive at 200? Why not 199? Why not 190? Why not 180? Why not 235? How did you arrive at 250, 200? That's why whenever things can be chaotic, well, avoid that. Data has its own way. We can always perform some statistical test. It'll tell you how much it should be exactly, rather than doing a gut feeling based. I said, when data speaks, you don't have to educate, you don't have to explain anything. It's self-explanatory. People will not challenge. So while we do the projects, we let people brainstorm, we let people do all kind of discussion. But when we bring in our flavor, we go and tell, well, based on last 1 year data, this is what your process is capable of achieving. This is the maximum you can do. This is the minimum you can do. We are able to tell you it's your data, not mine. Your data tells you the process has this capability of going till here, it till lowest till here. So people, then there are no rebuttals. So, well, whenever you have data, it gives you the immense control. Not talking about process-based approach to kind of like the iterate. We already understand what is the repeat, repeat, repeat. We always do. Whether it's predictive or agile, every project is iterative in nature because you repeat the same thing, repeat the same thing, repeat the same thing. And iteration is much faster in agile by default because you repeat the same cycle every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. You do the same job, sprint twice. Predictive also, we have a lot of things which are iterative in nature, stakeholder identification, team charter will be done, stakeholder relationship has to be understood, risk management has to be iterative. A lot of things will be done iterative. You can't do it once. You have to constantly do this throughout the project. The engage part, well, the only way you manage stakeholder is to communicate with them and by engaging them with giving responsibilities, involve them in decision making. So you only way you engage your stakeholders, A, you communicate with them, and B, you involve them in decision making. This one, it says fail safe, plan for failure. Well, say fail safe and fail fast. Sooner you fail, which is good for you. Well, if you and it's plan for failure, which is good. Not failing is a big problem. Well, if I am designing and developing a software and say this is the project duration, it will be good if I fail here. It will be good if I fail here. It will be good if I fail here. I don't want to fail here. Because if I fail, it will be disastrous. So I want to fail and I want to plan for fail because of like failure. If I'm able to do, I can correct it, I can fix it. But if I start failing here, this is going to be disastrous. So I want to fail and I want to plan for failure so I can make it robust. And I want to fail sooner the better because I don't want to fail here, the later part. It will be that I'll have no time to recover from it. Here I have so much of time to recover, so I will be able to work around it. Like I designed and developed a software. This software, I'm doing a testing, no bugs, no bugs, no bugs, no bugs. Like say 10 days in a row, I found no bugs. I will be way too concerned about this, way too concerned. If you find a bug, I'll be happy. You don't find a bug, I have even bigger problem. So we are dealing with a problem, we're dealing with a process where I have no idea. Well, too good to be true that you don't have a bug. But probably testing is not enough and testing is not done. Probably we have not been able to identify the bug yet. And that's why it's an even bigger problem. So when we always say like when there is like whenever we conduct those trainings and we ask them, like we generally talk about this, that if you have a problem, it is good to have a problem. When you don't have a problem, then there is even bigger problem. So not having a problem is even bigger problem. So well, having a problem like a failure is good. Trial and error approach is acceptable. Yeah, see, all in all, see, I want to prepare. I want to prepare myself for the failure. So this is more about the risk part of it. I want to be sure that, well, if there's a probability of something happening, I will be. And this is where we talk about the risk management part. Risk management comes to the picture. Because you want to plan. What is a plan for failure? Anticipating the possible failures and then preparing yourself for it. Because I don't want to fail later. I want to fail. So the trial and error approach, which ideally should be guided. Whatever we are trying to think about as probable failures, that is from the risk register, and then accordingly we'll plan for it. So the risk part will be talked about. And that's what it's looking at. Look at this. Fail fast. That's what it's again talking about. Fail fast and self-correct. So instead of planning and relying on tailoring, like basically rely on tailoring, adaptability, and resilience. So you don't want to sit down in agile world. We don't have a mindset of planning. Why? Because we plan for 2 weeks only. That 2 week sprint, that's it. There's no point in planning because whatever you're going to plan, it might get changed by the time we're finishing this sprint, everything in your backlog might get changed because you pulled the items, whatever you're doing, that's what you're planning. So your effort is only for 2 weeks. Rest of the items in your backlog can be completely changed. So if I spend the time on planning those items, it'll be waste of time. So we said we don't plan whatever you're going to plan. So it's more about we have said that it's more on the go, real time. You do the job and you experience the problem, you solve the problem, and we want to fail. And it's not that because if we're able to do that, we are able to learn better. And we have to make our system. And so going forward, we'll not have that problem. So I said like if you face an issue, which is good, it's a positive sign. You don't face an issue, it's even bigger problem. So that's what is called fail fast and fail correct, like self-correct also, because we don't want to fail later. It is going to be disastrous because you will not have time to recover. Is it okay and clear? If it's okay, then we are done with this one for sure. Is it fine? Okay. All right. So I guess we have 5 minutes left for the break. We can take a 5-minute early break and we can resume in 30 minutes. Is it okay with everyone? Let's connect after the break and resume with a fresh chapter. everyone. Let's take the break now. Let's connect in. Right then. So are we back from the break, everyone? Okay, and quick check on the audio part. Is it okay and clear now? Because I did go back and try to reinstall the Zoom once again. It could be. So just want to be sure when the echo thing is taken because I reinstalled the Zoom. I had to uninstall and reinstall. So is it? I hope that should not be a problem. Okay, I hope so. Do let me know. I'll just keep a close eye on that the chat if in case there's something happens because all that I could have done because there's now no changes done since yesterday. But yeah, so could be some Zoom glitch, some software, which yeah. So I had to reinstall. Anyways, we'll be starting with a new lesson. This part is all about dealing with the leadership part of it. So as a project manager, what kind of leadership activities you have to follow, specifically about knowing your team members, trying to understand their skill gaps, managing conflicts, the leadership styles that you will be adopting. This is what we'll be covering up in this section. So, quick, short topic, not a big one, pretty simple, straightforward ones. Common concepts, but there are certain terms we will be going and kind of exploring in detail, but otherwise it's very, very generic, very, very simple. So power skills is what we talked about. Like, so we remember the power skill was we talked about different elements you will be tested on in the examination. One was the business acumen, which is the business side of it. So which is about 8%. We talked about 42% of the leadership skills. So some of those skills are going to be covered here. The 42% of your examination stuff will be covered. Some part of it from this lesson. And we already talked about some bit of elements about team management. So it's all scattered everywhere. So this is all about power skills, how you lead a team, how you demonstrate those leadership behavior. So which is all will be getting into power skills. How you engage with the team, how you communicate with them, how you make the best out of the team. That's what we'll be covering up now. So some list of basically will this is more of a still a checklist because all you see out here is more of an index you will be seeing in coming slides. So we'll learn about different kind of leadership approach. Well, as a project manager, you will adopt different leadership approach. There's nothing called a right one, and there are different options. So you ideally will switch into different kind of leadership styles. So we'll learn about what are the different types of leadership styles. Very important to have the understanding this word empathy. We'll discuss this about, well, bottom line, in no condition as a team member or any stakeholder that we have is expecting any sympathy. Nobody wants sympathy. Trust, I may be having a bad day, things are not going fine. Nobody wants it. Well, people are professionals, they understand it. Well, I may be having a bad day, so I don't want you to be sympathetic to me, feel sorry about me. So sorry, I don't need that, all that. Well, being empathetic when I really truly believe and truly believe, well, like that you will get out of this. All you need is somebody to be actively listening at this stage. So nobody wants a lecture. I'm already in a bad state of mind and I'm not had a bad day. And I just want somebody to actively listen to me. Don't be in a mode of going and giving me one more lecture because I know all of that. Well, don't tell me you should not have done this. You should not have, well, everyone can sit down and comment once things have gone wrong. You should not have done this or you should not have done this and that. Bottom line, it's easy to say that. So I am not sitting and waiting for somebody to give me one more lecture. Bottom line, when I'm empathetic, I'm actually listening to you actively. And I feel like, so I'm not feeling sorry for you. I really want to feel how you feel. So I'm not in a mode to go and judge you. I'm not trying to go and pass on a judgment or make a perception about it. I really want to know what happened. And yes, I genuinely want to know how you feel. That's it. With no idea of giving you a feedback or kind of give you counseling unless you need it. Bottom line, at this stage, what I truly believe, everyone as a professional has that maturity level of understanding, we can all get through those challenges. But the period is just where I want somebody to listen to me. So that's what is primarily we're dealing with the empathy part. We'll talk about it more. Very important section which will come into picture. We'll see 4 different types of motivational theories. Very important one because you always get questions from that. Well, this is simple, like a no-brainer. Well, while you're dealing with a team and you're doing a project, well, we want to have a transparency and openness. Well, why would you hide? Like, what is the reason? What is that you're trying to hide something? You hide only things which are wrong. You try to like hide things and keep secrecy about things which are wrong. So within the team, if you want people to build, like as a project manager, I want my team to believe in my leadership styles, trust my judgments. Bottom line, if you want people to trust you, you should trust them. So, well, I must maintain the transparency while I'm doing this, so I can expect the same in return. And when I talk about the team, developing a team, doing all that, that includes external resources also. So an external vendor, contractor, supplier, well, they are also now a part of the project. So I have to also look into the development of them, communication with them, conflict with them. They also included in this part of it. So they're not outsiders for me right now, but practically they will also be taken into consideration when I'm trying to do a skills assessment. I will also look into them because their skills gap could impact my project. So these are still more of a checkpoints we'll be covering up now. Now, a list of things which are here. Some I will some are very commonly unknown, and so we'll not get into more details about them. But some we will be seeing in coming slides. Communication, we know what is that. Conflict management, we'll see different strategies in the end when you go to the slides. Different conflict management, conflict resolution strategies. Critical thinking, pretty much basic common. Cultural awareness is very much important that we should create ideally as a project manager, we should do a cultural sensitization session so that people should get to know about each other. We should be sensitive towards everyone. Bottom line, you can't be doing behaving in a certain way which is disrespectful towards somebody's culture. So we should understand, and that's just not just specific to culture, it's within the organization. There is an organizational culture also. We have to have an awareness of within the organization what kind of culture prevails. So overall, decision making, we'll talk about some more methods. Bottom line, decision making for you and more importantly for the team, because I want people to understand it's not easy. It's not easy. Well, it's very, very easy to say, I could have done this or I could have done that. Plus, when it comes to taking a simple decision also, people will have trouble. It's not easy to take a decision. Well, one person who has approved leave, another person who has an emergency. You can give leave only to one person. Well, go and give it. It looks easy. Things look easy, but when people who are actually doing it, well, they understand what kind of. It's not easy to take a decision where you have to fire somebody. It's not easy. This guy has been working with you, and you sort of develop some sort of bond. But because this guy is not sort of good enough for the project, skills wise, is struggling, and pretty much we have tried a lot to help this guy. It's not working out. You may have to go and let this guy go. It's not easy to say goodbye to people generally, like bottom line. So it's difficult to, and I want people, my team to understand and start practicing leadership behavior, and that cannot happen without them practicing leadership, the decision-making part. So I will give them some responsibilities where they can start at least practicing the leadership part so that they also understand when I say something, they will understand what I mean. Practically, they need to understand the pain that we go through. So they should be given some also of authority where they will start taking a decision. Very important section. We'll talk about the complete slide about this. Emotional intelligence, we'll cover it up then. PMI Code of Ethics, we already talked about the 8-page document, which is there in the downloadable folder, which I would highly recommend. Please memorize that. Very, very basic code of ethics, which are there. Please just check them out because you definitely get questions on them. Genuine ones, or basic generic ones are there. Expert judgment, we know expert is like you, anybody else who is an expert. OPA, which is also considered as an OPA, is a expert judgment. Facilitation is what we're doing right now, which is like presentation kind of thing. Could be virtual, could be classroom, like a board, having a physical meeting with a presentation stuff. That's facilitation part. Meeting management, well, as a project manager, you will be taking and conducting a lot of meetings. You need to know how to control the meetings, because you can't let people like spoil that purpose of the meeting. You need to know, well, how that meeting needs to be done. Well, people should know the agenda. We will not discuss anything else apart from this. So if you have anything else to discuss, this is not the forum. Duration. Well, we should get into the habit of coming up with a meaningful decision within a planned timeline. You can't keep having meeting after meeting just to discuss something and finally agree. No, you have to practice how to come up with a meaningful output within a planned duration. The method of having this meeting, well, you can't choose not to speak. Well, bottom line, you got to decide a method how people will speak. When somebody is speaking, let's not interrupt. One person at a time, one idea at a time. Well, so if there are 10 people in the team, well, if one person speaks everything, other people will not be able to get any chance to speak anything. So if you have, we are asking people to share ideas of improvement. Well, one person shares only one idea at a time. We let everyone has to practice. Everyone has to come and give me one idea, one idea. So I can't let one person tell me 10 ideas, because then other people will have nothing to do. So we will have to decide on the method how it needs to be done. Well, you have to document minutes of the meeting. Well, pretty much there are certain guidelines you have to maintain about meeting management. Otherwise, people will take it to a different level altogether. Things will go wrong. Negotiations, you do two types of negotiation. One with the sponsor. You do sponsor negotiation in terms of the acceptance criteria, because customer will be greedy. Customer will want a lot of things. You have to negotiate with them on the quality metrics, the tolerances and all those things. Well, how much of plus minus you ready to give? That will be the negotiation we'll do. With the team, we'll do negotiations on the roles and responsibilities, because people will be always having a problem with doing more job, doing a different kind of job. I was hired to do a job of a designer or a developer. Why should I do this extra job? Bottom line, you got to make a T-shaped team. You need these people to understand that this is your core skill, but you should develop the. So you have to negotiate with them. You have to negotiate with them on their working hours, their commitments. Basically, negotiations will be required there. Networking by default, a good project manager is a good networker. Well, it's always said that it doesn't matter who you know. It's very much important who knows you. So very important for a peer, like somebody in the project management world should have a good network. And yes, that's what we always recommend doing that. Team building, but bottom line, you got to be doing it come what may. You got to manage a team. You have to do the team bonding exercises. You have to do the conflict management. So dealing with the team building part. So some elements we have left here, which is primarily what we need to definitely discuss is later on emotional intelligence, which will come into picture. We'll talk about different kind of leadership styles. Those things will come into picture here. But for now, apart from the emotional intelligence, is there anything which needs more clarity? Please do pitch in. Please do let me know if there's not anything. They're generic ones, but still need to verify if it's okay and clear. Apart from emotional intelligence, we'll talk about that because that slide will talk. Is it okay with everyone? Okay. All right. Let's move ahead. Interpersonal skills. We just talked about the concept of active listening. Bottom line, active listening and hearing are two different things. Hearing is when I am listening, like sort of we say the word listening. Hearing is when you're telling me, and I'm like when you're speaking to me, my mind is already processing. Well, I'm like you. The moment you start speaking, I have already created an answer. And my answer is ready, and I'm waiting for you to stop, or I will even interrupt you to give my feedback. So no, you should have done this. While you're speaking to me and telling me something, my mind is already processing. While you're telling me, I'm already processing because I have to give a feedback to you. I got to tell you, this is what you should have done. This is wrong. This is bad. We should not be doing it. So we should be doing an active listening where I have no plans to give you feedback. I have no plans because I'm not even thinking on those lines. Well, we will give feedback when it's needed. Well, people at times just need somebody to listen. That's it. Without judging them, without having any, without interruption. And yes, while do active listening, you will be giving that confidence to the person I'm listening. That could be nodding your head. So you can do your nodding head, will tell the person that, yeah, you're listening. Second, you can probably repeat the same thing. The moment you say something, I repeat. I'm not telling you something else. I repeat, oh my God, this is what happened. I'm just repeating this. So that tells the person that I'm listening to you. Or paraphrase. Well, repeat the same thing in a different word but that gives the confidence to the person that you are listening to them. Bottom line, there are ways you do active listening. 100%, Diana, absolutely. That definitely goes into it. Generation differences will be very important. Well, we got to, you see, everyone cannot be dealt with a common yardstick. We got to understand where, and that's where, Diana, we'll just be talking about. Thank you to Broad. So I said there were motivational theories. Four different motivational theory we'll be discussing, and that's where this concept will automatically get picked up. And well, it's probably another 5 more minutes. We'll be talking about that. So that will get automatically answered. And yes, you're right. Yes, you will have to consider generation differences. Very much important. We'll cover that up. Communication styles will be kind of looking into that. That there'll be slide also for that. Emotional intelligence, there is a slide for that. Influencing is more about technically the PR management you have within the organization. You should know like people who are important within the organization, people who at least the ones who speak and a lot of people listen. Everyone respects them. So my connection, my understanding, PR management will have to be like a good rapport with them so that I can utilize their influence to motivate my team members. So we utilize this network which comes in the picture. Motivational, we talked about four theories we'll be discussing in a moment. We already know what is normal grouping technique. Political awareness is very important to understand within the company who has more, like, so there is a technically there's a VP operations, there's a VP HR, there's a VP IT, all have same designation, but somehow we know this guy is the most influential. All the designation wise, they're all vice president. But this guy, when this guy says something, it happens. This guy is well connected across the team or the organization. And well, this guy has a lot of authority, a lot of power, knows a lot of people. Probably it looks like everyone is following what he says. So we got to have the understanding of political awareness within the organization so that we know how to get my job done practically. If something gets stuck, who to approach. Transparency by default, like generate ones. So we will be covering up this element of things with active listening, communication styles, emotional intelligence, and the motivation will come in picture. What is the difference between political intelligence and emotional? See, political awareness part, when you talk about it's about knowing what's going in there. Emotional intelligence is very different. It's very different. We'll be just going through emotional intelligence. We'll be able to automatically understand. It's very different from your political intelligence. I will use political intelligence as a part of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the bigger piece. Emotional intelligence while I'm executing and handling things with emotional intelligence, I will be utilizing this political awareness also, which will be, and we cover the emotional intelligence, and you'll see it's a part of it. Emotional intelligence is a bigger part. Smaller part of that is the political awareness. We'll see that. 5 components of emotional intelligence. The political awareness is one of the component of emotional intelligence. We'll see that in a moment. Quick one here. Let's look at the leadership styles. Which one is good? Well, practically nothing is good or bad. All are good. So but again, just for understanding sake, a leadership style of direct, basically direct or directive. Direct or directive is to tell people who is the boss. This is a predictive style. The project manager in a predictive world typically would be more of this guy who tells people what to do. So the project manager in a predictive world will be sort of a more in general, will be the one planning, taking a decision. So this one is more of a guy who says, well, my way or highway, boss is always right, that kind of thing. So this guy would not even consult anyone. Well, this guy will take a decision for everyone. So this guy, typically the one who takes the charge on and would take a decision on behalf of everyone. All decisions are controlled. So the directive style is when I take the charge and the I factor is very strong here. And there's nothing called like speaking to the team. No, I decide everything and I'm always right. Bottom line, that's kind of mindset. Consult, so it's not that we only use this one. In predictive also, we can be consultative. Predictive, so you decide, well, which one is good? Well, nothing is good, honestly. Depending on certain scenario, this is good. This is good in some. So let's understand, like here. When say consultative here, still the decision is taken by project manager. Still the decision maker is project manager, but before he or she takes the decision, would consult the team member, would talk to the people, know everyone's opinion, and then take a final decision. I would say this is better. Yeah, like you are talking to people, you're trying to understand everyone's opinion But in the end, it's you, the boss, you will be taking a final call. Here, you're consulting people and then you're taking a decision. Here, you don't even consult. You say, well, this is what I decided. Let's go on. Well, honestly, in certain cases, you might want to be consultative, but when you are too much consultative, people will start taking you for granted. It happens. So when you're too much approachable, too much easy, too much too soft, you're too caring, at times people will, at times happens when people will start taking you for granted. So it is important to sort of give them a reality check at times to tell who is the boss, who's running the show. So well, I'll say like 90% of the time I will be consultative. 10% of the time I must remind them who is the boss. So I will take some decisions. I will hold some decisions which I will simply decide for everyone. So, well, what is right or wrong? Well, that's up to you. Bottom line, we should know what these methods are. The directive is the PM doesn't even consult, will take a decision for everyone. Consultative will consult everyone, but take a final decision himself or herself. Servant leadership is the agile way of mindset, the agile part of it. So agile part of it, well, the Scrum Master actually is the guardian of agile practices, will follow agile practices, would like to spread and make sure everyone is well aware, trained, and educated about agile practices, and expects even the team members to follow the servant leadership, which is about keeping the team's interest before your interest. And technically, there's nothing called your interest. You work selflessly for the people. So while I'm not sure whether I did mention this or not, but when we were being trained on this aspect by PMI, while we were getting this like to be able to train this, you have to kind of pass some certain examination there. And in those slides, and pretty much they were talking about servant leadership, they showed Mother Teresa, they showed Nelson Mandela, the pictures of them to showcase what is servant leadership. That you selflessly work for the people, but you don't expect anything in return. You're just there for the people. So that's the kind of mindset that servant leadership is talking about. So we are working for the team. We are trying to believe in the team. We believe in their capabilities, and I'll try to do everything possible which can help the team do their job efficiently. So I'm doing everything for them. I'm not expecting anything in return, not even acknowledgement. I don't need that. I'm not looking for it. Well, this is the one, while we talk about when you have this kind of mindset, this is where the agile teams will work. Agile teams have 100% decision-making authority. The team takes the decision. The decision maker is the team. So team works in the case of a collaborative consensus approach is done where the team has 100% autonomous behavior, like a control, to take a decision what needs to be done. Teams that take the decision there, nobody else has the control there. Now comes in, well, can I use servant leadership in predictive? Answer is yes. Can I use this model in predictive? Why not? Bottom line, situation. Do a mix and match, try and use, depending on scenario. There's nothing called, you have to use this in this model only. But again, obviously you can't use directive and consultative approach because there's no project manager in agile kind of thing. So you can't use this. But in agile, you'll be working with servant leadership. But this servant leadership, can it be used in predictive? Why not? Can you use this approach? Yes, why not? In predictive, you can use all the methods depending on scenario, because I might want to give some roles and responsibility to my team to learn this, because I need to make them leaders. I need them to understand how difficult is it to take a decision. So probably like managing meetings, I can give the responsibility to them. Some bit of task I can start delegating that you will take a team, as a team, you will take a decision. So I want my team, even a predictive world, to understand this. I want my team to understand some of this. So I will demonstrate these behaviors in some, so I will be more like situational, try to understand the situation and accordingly switch into a different leadership style. That's what we will be keeping in. Quick check on this one, if it's okay and clear. Let's move on to the next. Well, this one is pretty old sort of argument. Leadership and management. Leader, or like what we talk about simply, is there a difference between leader and management? The answer is yes. Leader and management, we definitely leader, so they're not equal. That's why leadership and management are not equal. Leader, well, pretty much we know that leader leads by example, demonstrates to people and leads, like does it in himself or herself, will do the job and will show people how it needs to be done, would set the culture, would create the culture. So leadership, like somebody who is a project manager, ideally would be in a leadership role, will do the job, will showcase the best of the behavior and would expect people to learn from that. And so the culture creation is done by the leader, and people will see how this leader has demonstrated and will try to follow and imbibe those practices. Leader will do it himself or herself. Manager, the true role of a manager is that a manager does nothing, because my role says manage, not to do it. So if I am as a manager, I am seen doing something, I need to learn managerial skills. I'm not a good manager. A manager should do zero, nothing. It is not my job. My role says manage. So my job is to delegate and make sure people do it. So I need to find out who will do the job, because I'm not the one. I'm not going to be doing anything. So as a true manager, I should be ensuring that I need to find people. Yes, for that, I need to train people, coach people, counsel people, and make sure that they are equipped enough, skilled enough to be handling those jobs, and just give them the job. So, well, whether leadership is good or management is good, well, as a project manager, you have to be both. So in most of the cases, well, to ideally, like if I start a project and it's early days, I might want to be in a leadership role. I want to initially demonstrate, set the culture, and then eventually when my team starts doing it, I will slip into management role. So show them the path and then switch to the management role. But initially, it's good to kind of show them the path. So start with the leadership part and then switch to the because remember, keep this in mind. These people have not worked together. They don't have an experience of working together. They're bound to make mistakes and all. So and every project team is different. The culture is different. So it's good practice to start with the leadership behavior, demonstrate, because it's your project. You know what do you expect from the project. These people also don't have an idea of working together here. So it is a good practice that you should tell people this is how it needs to be done. Show them once, people will have the understanding clear, and then step into the role of management and let them do the job. So again, it's more about a concept you should keep in mind, that leadership is more about you do it yourself, be a role model, demonstrate the best of the behavior, and let the management part is more about making sure whatever has been set as a principle or a guideline, people just follow that as it is. So it's more about making sure people are following it, and you're not the one doing it. You have to make sure that people are doing it. That's the difference between basic generic ones. We know it even way before we got into all this stuff. Again, very generic ones, but again, quick one. Leader and manager part, is it okay and clear? Well, okay, let's then move ahead. Servant leadership, I'm not sure how many times it's going to come back, but let's kind of still talk about the role of a servant leader. Facilitate rather than manage, because this guy, who a manager, you don't need to have authority. This guy has no authority. The authority is only with project manager, with a team. So this guy will facilitate things, will be coordinator kind of thing. Will provide coaching and training, yes. Will work on removing impediments, yes. Will focus on accomplishment, will believe in the team behavior, team kind of accomplishment, their skill set. So we'll focus on the positive sides, and all those will appreciate, make a big deal about it, encourage people. And yes, see, expects people to also learn that behavior of a servant leadership. But well, practically, they would enjoy having the control of the thing. But all in all, that the culture of Agile says that you have to behave like a servant leader. Basic stuff I can be already discussed about this. Okay, this is very important from a concept perspective. We've always been talking about OPA, historical documentation and all that. It just talks about a very important element here. Do not blindly take it. So your past experiences can help you as a guidance, but let's not let it dictate your action. So, well, somebody created an OPA, like lessons learned document. Well, that's a good roadmap for you, but just don't go blindly and pick up and make your work. You try to see, okay, you have got a framework ready. This is how they have done. So now you are, because your problem may not be 100% same. So it needs some bit of customization. Do not just go for line and just copy and paste. So it always needs, it can be good reference point. It will be guidance. It will save a lot of time. An idea can be developed, but just don't blindly follow it. And that's why, because your problem is different, you have to change it and customize it. And well, it will give you a new idea. And what you end up creating will be a better version of that. And yes, that will help somebody in the future to do a project better. So all in all, it always helps you to kind of keep that in mind. What has been served to you, it's not, it worked for somebody, and that's why it is lessons learned document for somebody. But that problem, that scenario was not 100% identical, and your problem is unique to yourself. So you have to devise a solution which is specific to what you're dealing with. So yes, customization will be required. Just don't blindly follow what is there. So what blind acceptance is should not be there. It is bad. It will probably people might just at times follow because it's easier to simply copy and paste, but it's not a good way to deal with it. That way. So try to always be innovative and try to find a better way of doing things. You've been given the historical documents, but again, try to improvise and make it better. That's what it is. Well, while you're going to work with the teams, well, you have to kind of develop the team performance, because the team together we achieve more. Well, that's what the expanded version of team says. Together, everyone achieves more. So, well, cohesion, solidarity. Well, as a team, we always work better. Well, we got to keep in mind, it's absolutely good as a project manager. Every single team member is important. I do understand each member. I would like to invest in myself in their understanding about every member is different. So every member may not be working for exactly same reason. Some people will work for money. Some people work for probably the career option. Some people will work for job satisfaction. There could be different reasons. So I need to customize my approach towards them to make sure they can start performing better. I can address their needs, why they started doing, why they're working. So I should understand that needs and accordingly devise a solution for them. But again, please keep this in mind. Above team, there's no one. So individuals won't count. I'm definitely very much interested in the people. Every single person is important. But when it comes to team, there's no one above team, including project manager. So I will not care about the team as an individual. The individual performances, well, say, for example, one of the individuals is brilliant, amazing, absolutely God-gifted talent, but has an attitude problem. Sorry, I am not going to work with this guy. Simple as that. I will just not. One person cannot because if I accept that kind of behavior, it's going to convey a wrong message to all the team members that it's for somebody with a good performance. We all understand this guy is good performance, but attitude, no, that's not acceptable. It's an unacceptable behavior. Will not be doing it. You can't be disrespectful towards people. So bottom line, individuals are important, but not at the cost of the team. So team will always take the precedence here. But again, as far as it goes, I will go that extra mile for every team member to make sure I can look into the overall development of that team member. So again, as a good project manager, I will try to go and facilitate the team bonding activities. I will be doing what are those activities? Well, based on your past experience, you can also look into these different elements. Well, what we can definitely do, we can have the one I was talking about, cultural sensitization sessions. We can do that. We can sensitization, so people can talk about their culture, where they come from. We can also do a pair program. So an experienced person with a new one will be paired up. So an experienced was new one, so there'll be easy knowledge transfer will happen between these two people. That ways we can do it. Probably you can have a best dressed kind of thing, or you can have a team, like a party, some sort of do some bit of activities just to kind of create a good team culture. So all that job can be done. Having a healthy competition will build the team activity. So all that job which can be done. Again, there's nothing called right or wrong. Well, there are so many different options, and we can be innovative. Bottom line, we've got to keep in mind, we have to do something. We have to constantly work towards making sure that the team culture is created. And again, while I'm doing it, I will always keep the team benefits, the team part above an individual interest. Individual interest, we are definitely interested in that. Everyone is important, but not above the team. So, well, that's what we will be focusing on, the team building part. And individuals are important, but not above team. So if somebody is not good enough, well, bottom line, this has to correct. Quick one here. I hope we already talked about this one. We have seen the video of Tuckman stages of team development. Everyone, I hope you recall this. You've seen the video. We can skip this: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Okay with everyone, shall we proceed if it's okay? I hope we've seen the video. We have seen that one. That would have come earlier. Okay, perfect. Let's move ahead then. Now, very, very important part while you're kind of dealing with team members, we're dealing with people. Manage and watch your tone. Well, it's very important in life, not only you, but everyone. See, I can say the same thing in 10 different ways, and it will mean different things all the time. Why? Because the tone matters a lot. People, like we always say that people forget what you Probably if I give you some item, I gave you something, you gave me something, gift like sort of gift, we will forget it. Like honestly, we forget the consumable items very easily. We like it will not doesn't have longer retention, but people don't forget how you treat them. And tone plays a very critical like impact. The way you speak, the tone, very simple words which are not offensive, not insulting, will sound in like I would rather not saying may, but will definitely sound insulting if your tone changes. The tone tells you a lot of things. So yes, if you want to connect with people, you want to develop a good bond, well, you can't have two different tones. Honestly, it doesn't make logical sense. If I speak with somebody in a leadership role, I am very polished. My professional tone comes into picture. But when I'm dealing with somebody who is like my team member, like subordinate or a vendor, my tone changes as if I'm probably the ultimate boss, and like what I say is the ultimate truth. The tone changes, and it's bad. Why would you have two different tones? Well, why can't you be natural? If you've been able to modulate the tone this way, when that you're not natural, you've been playing. It's like you're deceptive, and I can't trust you. So when honestly, but how you say things is very much important, because as correctly Diana has mentioned, so we definitely watch out for the tone, because it will have an impact in the kind of bonding you're trying to develop within the team members. And yes, when talk about trying to create urgency, it's very important to ensure people understand the see, I may as a project manager, and why would this problem will happen when we talk about urgency part, because it things balance tone with urgency. You see, we may be behind it, like, so I'm like trying to relate with two different things. We may be behind with a schedule, so we may be not being able to match up with a schedule, so we are behind the schedule, or we are over budgeted, quality issues are there. I know there could be some problem. So I want to go and pressurize my team, tell them that. So I want to create urgency about getting things done sooner in a cost-effective way. So well, I have a problem which I want to deal, but that doesn't give you a chance. Like it doesn't give you a reason to change your tone. Well, bottom line, I can get the job done. So I can still get the job done with a proper, polite, professional tone. And yes, and I can. And as far as we want to create an urgency, well, if you have done a proper, like, so you have kept a transparent relationship, if you have been able to share the details, how do you develop transparent relationship? Share what you got. Don't try to hide things. So the project charter, the vision document, every document you've got. So if you have shared it with them, they would know why you are asking them to go and maintain certain rate. Well, if you're behind the schedule, what is the schedule? They would know everything, because whatever you had, you've shared it. Have a transparent relationship, because if you have a transparent relationship, people will, if you have shown trust in them and they have access to those documents, basically you're telling them that the schedule is like we're behind the schedule, or we're over budgeted. They know it. Why? Because you have been able to create a team where people are aware of what you're talking about. Let's see, it will be very difficult for somebody to understand the urgency of why you're making so much of hurry, why you kind of after their life on the deadline part. Well, because if you don't tell them, they don't have access to the document, they will not be able to connect with the urgency. But if they know that they are referring to whatever document you're referring to, they also have access to the document. So they know that you're not being unrealistic. You're talking about the urgency is coming into picture, because you have a document which was shared by you with everyone, and everyone knows that why you are so critical about the timelines, because we are already breaching those timelines. So bottom line, we might want to still create urgency. So create urgency, it's very important to create a transparent relationship, so that where we try to share the information, people are well educated, well informed about whatever we are dealing with. And yes, please maintain, don't lose the tone. Losing a tone will not do the job, because if you lose the tone, things will slip out of your hand. You will not be able to gain respect to the people. Yeah. So I hope it's clear, like we may, because a lot of people, when things go out of control, their tone changes and they lose the sense of like the common sense, I would say, and they start behaving rather, let's say, mistreating people, like treating people in a wrong way, which is not correct. You may be going through a bad phase, things may not be working fine, but that doesn't give you any liberty to disrespect anyone. Everyone has to be treated with respect. Bottom line, if you expect people to respect you, you must respect them. You can't have a difference. Like you can't just treat me in a wrong way and expect me to go and have a high regards for you. Sorry, that's not going to happen. So, well, there are two different things. And bottom line, because there's urgency, my tone changes. So we've got to keep in mind to make sure urgency is taken care of, have a transparent relationship, make sure people are well educated and aware of it. They have all the information, so they will understand what you say. They'll not have a disconnect here. And yes, that again, if things are still going bad, don't pretty much just watch out for this, because it is only going to hamper, it's not going to improve if you have a bad tone here. Quick one here. It's a different story when someone challenge you, right? You draw a line. Yeah, see, it's more about we would definitely see. It's more about like somebody's it's trying to challenge. See, we got to always, and we always try to say this. See, we are during a project. We said never focus on an individual. Focus on issue. If something is being challenged, I'm not being challenged. There is an idea which is being challenged. It's okay. So I'm not going to judge you. You're not going to judge me. So we don't focus on my area of interest is not the person, but the conversation. So it's okay. People can have a different opinion. I can have a different opinion. You can be different opinion. We both can be right. We can work mutually together. But again, there can be disconnect. We can sort out. Either I'll agree with your logic, or you will agree with my logic, or we both will agree on some other logic. Eventually, come with a conflict resolution method to come to a point where we are able to have some agreement. Either you will agree with me, or I'll agree with you, or we'll mutually agree with some other logic. We'll get there. So again, never make people as a point of subject. Well, people are not to be discussed, but issues are to be discussed. That's what we'll be focusing on. We'll be trying to create a culture that way. The bigger problem we have here is this virtual team member. This guy is going to be the one who will be first going to get disconnected from the team, who will sort of lose the touch with the team. Why? Because this guy is sitting somewhere, one part of the world, like in a room, like not connected with people. Well, probably in the morning we have like a good morning, whatever you call, have a call like a pre-shift call, and then pretty much by the end we have post-shift. Well, this guy, which it's 8-hour shift, I don't know. But this guy worked 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, how many hours, I don't know. Because this guy is a virtual team member. And moreover, this guy, people who are sitting together, working together, it's easier for them to go and talk to each other, go for a cup of coffee. That develops the bond, but not the ones who are outside, like technically somewhere outside and remotely working somewhere. So it's very important that we have to keep these people in mind, but they will be the ones first getting disconnected from the team. So we have to keep in mind, well, these people, while we are dealing with the virtual team members, well, the team, because they have an impact on the team dynamics, well, you have to make sure that they're aware of basically we have to keep things transparent, because they're not with us here. So, well, because they will be playing a role in the team dynamics, they also have a role. While we are sharing information, well, the people who are with you, they always get information. But the ones who are somewhere else, they may not get like in certain cases, people who are not close to you, they don't get the proper information, or they get it late. We must make sure that it's transparent. Communications should be done with everyone at the same time. So nobody should be made because such things that if that happens, that the person who is probably remotely working gets to know, probably like when the world is already known it, it's not the right feeling to, and you are made to feel that you are the one who probably is not so important, because you are the last one to know it. Practically, that should not be there. Accountability, well, you got to remind people about the virtual team members about their role, which is the team charter. Remember the team charter, where the roles and responsibilities were discussed and agreed by the team members itself. So remind them about why you were hired, what were the roles and responsibilities, and you committed for this. So you must live up to your expected, whatever you said. And yes, look at whenever they're doing the job, whenever you are watching them, to even a web call, like a video conferencing, or look at the communication part, the body language, the tone, that has to be kept in mind, because that will have an impact. Because that's how you will be able to gauge the body language, how they're sitting, what kind of engagement level they're having during the video conferencing part. You will be able to figure this out. And yes, it says, well, additionally, you can use this video conferencing tool, like the tools that we're using right now. Check for active participation, assess body language and tone. And yes, it says you can use this work on word when you say these are cloud-based system. So which we can say that the dashboard can be created, which can tell us like who is doing job and what all job has been done between the team members. So, well, that's where we get to know who is working on which item. So video conferencing too, and that's we talked about. Remember, fishbowl is what we said is something which we use to involved and ensure these people are also involved in the, like we get to know what they're doing, because you will have your cameras on for all day till the time the shift is going on. So if my shift starts at 9 o'clock, my camera will be on at 9 o'clock and my camera will get switched off on at 5 o'clock when the shift gets over. So it's all day video conferencing link is called Fishbowl. Will be, and we'll see, I guess that will come next. So, well, these are the things we just talked about. They have the biggest risk of feeling isolated because they're not with you. They are sitting in a room, probably one guy working in one part of, like some part of the world, and just managing everything on its own, not even working with, not even staying with the family, will be very easily getting disconnected. Where they will have a problem with a shared commitment, you have to remind them. So focus on shared commitment, which is team charter. Remind them about the goals and what they had and what their individual role in the team charter. Go back and still share. This is all about team charter. Look at this. Remember, like, remind them about the shared commitments they have made. Well, help them understand what were the team goals, what were the commitments, what were the individual commitments and all. Because we have to keep reminding people till it becomes like a sort of, it sinks in their mind that yes, they have a role to play in this project team. That's what we have. Again, some more. Again, let's quickly get into this team part of it. Well, if you get a question around with the best practice for creating a best team culture, the first answer should always be co-location. Co-location, make them sit together. If we have a project team and we have pulled up people from various departments, well, they cannot be sitting, say, they might be working part-time in your project. So we have a person who from HR, this person is working part-time in your project, is still doing HR job. Somebody who was in training, somebody was in quality, and like different people in various departments, they have been pulled up for your project and they're doing a part-time job. They can't be sitting in their departments. Bottom line, make them sit together. That's your area where your entire project team sits. Make sure they sit together. Well, they can't be working in their department. If you do that, you will never be able to create a team. So co-location is the best solution. When you kind of do that, it will, when you're able to sit together, you're able to understand these people have not worked together before. So you need to make sure that these people get to understand each other's pluses and minuses. You will, because the 5 stages will happen. You have formed the team, but now they have to storm, they have to fight. The storming is a normal process. You must storm. That's when I get to know pluses and minuses of everything. Then we normalize. So if I cannot make them sit together, they will never be able to storm. So stages will have to go through all the stages. So yes, you must make them sit together, because for you to make a team, you got to understand the storming is a normal process. It is normal process, should happen. Without storming, you'll not be able to create a team. So it is going to be possible when you make them co-locate, make them sit together. Well, you do that, it helps you have a meaningful interaction. And this meaningful interaction could be even a cup of coffee or what you're having for lunch today. Bottom line, that's kind of lost discussion. Well, it helps you to make sure that whatever ground rules you've created, we will be able to implement them, execute them by sitting together. It helps you to kind of empower the team culture, the team bonding kind of thing. So when you create the culture like that. So first, very important, it all boils down to co-location. Make them sit together. Obviously, if you have a virtual team member, then I will have the video conferencing link involved here. Yes, Mr. Saidi, do you want me to unmute you? Or you have, okay, yeah, just give me 1 quick second. Please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, hi, sir. You said about storming, but how we will apply storming virtually?
Oh, yeah.
How I can manage the team and let them engage more and more virtually?
See, when we say storming, that means there is a typically acceptability issue. Number one, that you're not my boss. Practically, I was best in my department. That's why I was nominated for this project, and so on and so forth. There are difference of opinion which will be there. So everyone wants to prove a point that I'm better, because there's a power game, because these people have not worked together, and now you got into a scenario where everyone is good, and well, everyone wants to prove that I am the best. So there will be difference of opinion. Acceptability issue will be there. So well, now what happens because you have some people are working with you, some people are virtual team members. Now what you do is, but to ensure that people are able to get out of this mess, if you have a virtual team member too, you may want to go and conduct those kind of activities by team bonding exercise, like the pair activities, pair programs. Involve them in decision making. Involve them in like making like so. I will a virtual team member, specifically talking about virtual team members. I will involve them in some sort of activities like paired programs, so they are able to collaborate with some other people who are working with you at any location. So when you kind of involve them, so the problem is when these people will feel disconnected, there will be more chances of. We can't be scared about storming. That's the thing I have to keep in mind, that I'm not scared about storming, because there's a normal process. It must happen, and that will happen only when people interact. When the interactions will happen, people will fight, and it is good for me. People must fight. Fight means like not physical, but again, there will be difference of opinion. Why would it happen when people will interact? People will do something, and I want people to do that. So this paired programs could be done. I could do a competition within the team, so I can have a healthy competition where I can run competition. So I want to create a culture where, like, when we try to create a competitive environment and a healthy way, people will have those kind of the difference of opinion will come into picture. We will like, and we want to. Yeah, at times I would want these people to have this when you having a team kind of meeting. I want this the person who's virtually located to take the charge of the meeting, give more responsibilities, give responsibility for them to lead a lot of activities. So I want people to be engaged and involved. When you engage and involved, that's when we'll fight. Bottom line, if I'm still sitting in my area and I'm doing my job, you're doing your job, nothing's going to happen. But that is right now, and it will give me satisfaction. Right now, in longer run, I have a problem because these people really need. We had to make them fight. Without like in this fight, we like this is a normal process for you to have a team created. They must sit together, have a difference of opinion, clarify each other's doubt, and practically, so you have to have that conflict must happen. It's a healthy conflict which must happen. But again, if we avoid it, well, again, so you have to make them involved in some activities. Make them do something. With the virtual team members, I can give them responsibilities to carry out certain things. And yes, they may be responsible to collaborate with some other people and come up with a decision. So involve them in activities. That's it. I hope that answers your question. But again, that's what you'll be doing in this case with virtual team members. Is it okay? Quick check on this one. Okay. Okay. While you talk about software, like some sort of project you're working on, PMIS is Project Management Information System, Microsoft Project, Jira, Primavera, any kind of tool, doesn't matter what you use, you will be using one. For document storage, artifact management, you will be using Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint, bottom line, some sort of tool where you can share information so people can easily access that information. And yes, with these tools are good enough now because if there's a particular folder and this folder is available when practically, but you have to make sure that only people who are authorized to access this folder should be able to access. So there should be the whatever platform, whatever forum you're using, like in case of Google Drive, OneDrive, but security have to be like security wise, it should be good enough that if somebody is not authorized to access the folder, should not have an access. Somebody who has been authorized to only have view rights, so should be able to open up and see things, but not make the change. They cannot make the changes. Somebody would have the admin rights and edit rights also. So I can control who needs to access what. And yes, whoever needs to get an access should be hassle. So nowadays you pick up anything, all the tools are good enough. So you pick up anything, doesn't matter, whatever storage platform or whatever like project management information system, it doesn't matter, all the same. They have all the required features in them. So just like good to know. Well, but they have promotings here somehow. They promoted Microsoft Project by writing Microsoft Project here, SharePoint. But again, for teams for that matter, so they've promoted these. They've not promoted the ones which are there like a. But again, otherwise they will generally not do that. But they are promoting here Microsoft Project somehow. That's how it is. Now, an artifact. What is an artifact? We already talked about this definition here. It's a document which can recreate history, construction of history of the project, and that's where we talk about documentation. Where version controls are created, version 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. It can help you reconstruct the history. And during the project, we will be creating lots and lots of artifacts. All your basically your project management plan is an artifact. All your baselines are artifacts. All our subsidiary plans are artifacts. So wherever you have to maintain this 1.1, 1.2, 1.1.1, this coding system, version control, that will be done only for the documents which are artifact, because you want to keep a trace of how things have evolved. So you will be creating those artifacts there. And let's see this artifact. So whatever method you will be using for storing information, documentation, files, wherever you'll be storing, like Google Drive, OneDrive, wherever, it should be accessible. So it should not be like, it should be accessible. You can use information radiator to make it visible where all which folder has which details. So you can use information radiator. The kind of storage system and the security and all that should be kept into mind given the complexity of the project. Nowadays, well, any of these things are very robust and they are secured once. You can't, unless you have to have some sort of very confidential information. Well, then you may want to go for some cloud-based system, because if it's because they will, like Google and all. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not secured, but if it's very confidential information, people will not use a Google Drive for this. Well, if it's a company data, they'll not generally use a Google Drive. Then you will be using some paid kind of other subscription models where, well, so you will be kind of using the kind of storage system now, depending on the kind of work we're doing it. So that ways you can do it. And yes, cloud-based systems are definitely, they're expensive ones, but again, will work always. Wherever you have geographically distributed team, you can always use them. They can use this information to kind of, everyone can access through a cloud-based system. There's no other choice. You don't put that in cloud-based system, well, people will have a problem of accessing information. So yes, whenever you have geographically distributed team, you will be by default using a cloud-based system, be it Google Drive, OneDrive, or any other cloud-based system. There are a lot of them. And yeah, you will choose the kind of system depending on how complex the project requirements are. It should be easily accessible. So whatever system you're using, it should be accessible to the people. You should be able to go back and pull up the information from those systems. So we should be able to, we should be a simple way to produce and control the documents. So you have to create a Google file, a Google form. It's simple. And yes, you can control the documents also. Formats, templates, whatever, and this will come, the standardized template will come from your project management office. What should be the template and format you should be using, should not be using anything else. Look at this, approval of documents, there will be certain process, which is again guided by project management office. Version control will be there, security, bottom line, version control. We have configuration, management plan. What this configuration management plan tells us, it tells us how the documents will be configured, managed, controlled, and all that. If somebody opens up a document, I should be able to access who all have accessed, who made the change, when it was made the change. All those things will be captured. So this is all we should have. So to make sure this plan is executed, we have configuration, management system. And what this configuration management system is, like Google Drive, like OneDrive. These are configuration management system where we can execute this. And to execute this, I will need the version control. So every file that I create, there's a version control. If I have made a file deletion in the file, I can go back in history and edit it. I can always, somebody has accidentally deleted a file, I can always go back and restore to historical date, and I can again retrace the file. If somebody has made a change, I can exactly know as an admin when that file was opened, who opened it, and who has made the change. And I can always roll back the changes again as an admin. So that is all controlled by you. And yes, timely distribution should be easily, if you want to share the data, it should be easily done. It should not without any hassle. It should not be that complex that you are not able to share it. You make it so stringent that you're not able to share it also. So practically that should be avoided. The choice of the system should be like simple, but yes, secured, and it should be easy to access it. So the version control part, what all artifacts the team would create, all these are artifacts. Project management plan, project charter, change request, baseline, all the plans that we had there. In case of Agile, we have, we'll have a first look at it. Sprint backlog, product roadmap, task boards are from the Kanban. Experiments are done as a part of this project management plan. We don't have in Agile, but this has hybrid has predictive in it. That's where project management plan, otherwise Agile doesn't have it. And experiments are generally talked about when we talk about experimentation. These are generally with the research and development projects, which will be ideally be a predictive one, which will probably be not, I won't say predictive, but will be hybrid kind of models, will be in the predictive, this high experiments one will be conducted. So all those experiments, when you're conducting them, you will make a trace of what is 1.1, 1.2 experiment 1.3. So we will be maintaining it. And again, it could be predictive project, it could be hybrid project, but not typically an agile one. Experimentation will be hybrid, could be, and will work ideally best with a hybrid model. So some part of agile can be used for driving the experimentation, because you have to be quick in terms of changing things. So yeah, I would rather plan the project of experimentation like a research and development project through predictive way, but execute agile way. So I'll plan, but execution will be done through agile, which is more of like a change oriented, because I will not be able to, because the things are going to change, because I will make a lot of changes and I will want to see, is it working, not working. In experimentation, things will be made very, very, like changes have to be done. So I'll rather go with a hybrid model where I have every planning done through predictive way, but the execution is happening through agile. They all, these are all artifacts, examples of artifacts. And they could be much more. Wherever you want to maintain and the log of the work being done, it's going to be hard. Have a look at this. Configuration management plan is what we talk about. So it tells you how the documents will be planned, stored, how we'll collect this information, basically how the organization will be doing. In order to make this plan work, you'll have a configuration management system. This is the template documentation, whatever you're using, Google Drive and whatever OneDrive kind of thing, which will be used to like work on this and kind of work this configuration management system out. And yes, how do you do that? With the version control. So as and when the configuration management system works, as the moment something new is created, you'll have a new version number, a date and time stamp, and the name of the user who made the change. So if anyone makes a change, I will get to know which file was accessed by which person, what day, what time. If there is unauthorized access, I will get to see who was the person who was like, so you can't come back and say, well, I never did it, because I know we have a date and time stamp. This is the date, this is the time when you made this file, you made the modification with this file, or you deleted this file. I can always go and prove that. Version control is what secures and safeguards. So is it okay and clear? Quick check on this one. The version, we talked about configuration management plan, configuration system, and the version control. General things were very, very generic ones, but again, okay, perfect. Empower the team. Okay, give me 1 quick second here. Okay. Whenever we talk about developing a team, it's very important for us as a project manager to look into empowerment. And that was talking about empowerment part. Make sure people understand that it's not easy to be a project manager. Well, it's very easy to go and tell people, well, I could have done this, I could have done that. Why don't you? So you've got to make people feel that pain, like somewhat. So don't give a complete ownership, but again, let them practice leadership in bits and pieces, small bit of work. So, well, I want to instill the sense of feeling of ownership. So people should be given some task where they are given the ownership to take a decision, autonomous decision. Yes, and I will so prioritize unity over team, individual. So we know every individual important, but for me, overall, not above the team. So I do care for everyone. I'll go the extra mile. But if that individual is a hindrance to the team, well, I would be happy to sacrifice that individual, howsoever good it may be. But I will not compromise on team behavior, the team values and all. So when you kind of give that trust to the team, these people, see, bottom line, when you show trust to them, they will respond back. Bottom line, if you're able to give them the skills and require you give them the trust to execute, well, if something goes wrong, don't worry, I'm there. You do it. So you give them the confidence, you tell them. So when you kind of give them the small, like they're able to win that battle. It's a battle because somebody who's doing it for the first time will be having difficulty in taking a decision, very small decision like wherever you have to take a call. It's easier said than done, but they will be able to experience that. So it will be easier for you to manage them because they will understand what goes through when somebody takes a decision. It's not easy. So I want people to understand. I will show the trust in them. I will let them exercise that leadership behavior and become leaders because I want them to practice that leadership behavior. Then we talk about this DEI, I guess. Yeah. So where we always talk about this diversity part, we're not scared of diversity. I love diversity and I would love always embrace diversity. We get people from different background. It's great job. It's great thing. I should be happy as a project manager. Equity part, well, everyone is equal in the eyes of, like as a project manager. Well, practically, nobody's like which nationality you come from, what religion you are from, what gender you have, what age group you are from, or bottom line, it doesn't matter. Everyone is same, including project manager. So nobody's above or below. You prepared a ground rule that applies to everyone, including project manager. The ground rules cannot be compromised for anyone under any given circumstances. You may be my best performer, but if you have violated those guidelines, so whatever repercussions or penalty clause which has been documented and agreed by the team, it will be applied. You don't get a leeway because you're good performer. I cannot let that happen. And yes, inclusion comes with a concept that we cannot let anyone if somebody is struggling, let's not try to kind of again, objective is that we must understand that, well, everyone is not perfect. Everyone has pluses and minuses. So somebody may be struggling right now and needs your help. So everyone must pitch in. Everyone must pitch in as a team. It's our responsibility to see that if somebody is struggling to do a job, we must share the workload and make sure we can uplift this guy and kind of take care of this person so that this person is not motivated. Like motivation, if that's gone, pretty much it's all gone. So yes, I want this person not to lose hope and the confidence. So we all pitch in. We give them the person the sense of sort of confidence and the satisfaction that my team is with me, and trust, because you're showing that that you extend your extra effort. When you will be in trouble, this guy will do that same for you. So it's very important that we got to understand if it's bad time for somebody right now, it might be a bad time for me tomorrow. So yes, we all pitch in for each other. So we all cover up for each other. So inclusion means, bottom line, you can't leave anyone behind. Everyone must be kept in mind. So the overall team has to, so it's a finishing line. The project has to end and everyone must cross the line together. So we cannot leave a person behind. Everyone must we should kind of make sure everyone is taken into consideration and nobody should be ignored or neglected in that process. So that's your DEI. So quick check on this one, if it's okay and clear. Perfect. Okay. Motivational theories. We'll come to the stage where I wanted to talk about this motivational theories. And I guess by the time we finish this up, we will be done for the day. But very important one, before we go and talk about the motivation theories, I'd rather tell you what mistake people do here. So that's what we should avoid doing it. They're very, very easy motivation theories. And practically, if I look at a real world scenario, they're very much applicable. So just not theory, but these applicables are relatable. You can apply them. So there will be some sort of story. I'll tell you about all the, like some sort of story or description. I'll tell you about all these four. So we can talk about a story here. We'll talk about a story here. We'll talk about a story here. We'll talk about a story or some description. What it means. What happens during examination? They will sort of give you a scenario, and they will tell you, well, which of the following motivational theory works best for us. So let's call this scenario A, scenario B, scenario C, and scenario D. And these are the theories which are applicable. What happens that during the examination, people end up swapping the theories. So I know this A theory ideally should be motivational, Maslow's theory, but the story that I have understood from the B, I end up mapping this with this. So we end up switching the labels, and that's why it may become blunder. So I would highly recommend how to do this practice is write down this theory, write the story around it. Like probably you want to do it manually. That's, I would say, old school of thought, the way, but again, rather than mixing up the theories together, it's not that they're difficult, they're easy, but we end up like, so if I randomly want to say, okay, let me write down McGregor theory. So I should be able to just pick up McGregor theory and write down the McGregor theory. Well, it's okay, I will just randomly pick up, okay, I want to write McClellan theory. So just make sure that we have done enough practice so that I don't mix up the theories. So because if I just try to read it like in a certain sequence and then I'm supposed to write, I will mix them up. So it's very important to randomly pick up one of theory. Okay, I'll write about it, and then just try to get comfortable by doing it multiple times, because you will get a question around this. But it's very important that we should remember the right theory with the right story around it. Let's talk about it. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay. Let's talk about a person who has just just passed the college fresher. I would say fresher. He got the first job. First job. So this is exactly a person who's a fresher. One of your team members. So all the team members were just newly hired, inducted, just out of college, no experience whatsoever. So experience is zero. Zero experience for that. Now, plus these guys were like busy studying before this in some college, some university. Parents was kind of bearing all these expenses, and for every single small need, they had to go and reach out to their parents and ask for money. You know, right after the college, we had high expectation from getting a great, like landing into my dream job, getting the best job that I always dreamt of, and finally, see, I have finally got a job, and I'm started doing the job. You know, what is my expectation when I get my first salary? You see, bottom line, I have it's my first salary, first expectation. Well, it's the first time I will be financially independent. Why? Because it's the first time my salary, I will have my bank account where like practically my own earned money will get credited in my account. And I'm not going to go and ask for my parents for, so I'm sort of financially independent. You know what's the desires this guy would be like, somebody just college guy would be trying to satisfy here? Buying an iPhone, buying clothes, probably shoes, probably I may be trying to go and buy like go for party, so like spend for your party and all that stuff. Bottom line, I am trying to go and satisfy my physiological needs. So food, water, right? So practically, this is what I would love to kind of satisfy my food, basic needs here. So physiological needs is what I want to, because this is what they want to do it, because all this while they were dependent on the basic needs and they were asking their parents to fetch to help them out. Now I am financially independent. Plus, this is like financial freedom. I go and buy, and I want to go and buy this time and again. So at this stage and this period, I'm trying to keep it like 0 to roughly a period of 3 years. So initially, the moment I get first salary, then second salary, like because I'll continue to buy. This is more of a buying and satisfying your like physiological needs. That's what I'm doing here till this period. Now, this guy has spent some time, about like roughly about 3 years. Now, let's talk about this person who's like say from 3 to something like a 5 years time frame. Now, this guy by this time, by like roughly in this 3 years, probably this guy would have already taken a car loan also. I probably would have taken a car loan. Or this guy's very well. So if like financially sound, I would say like responsible, might have also tried to like, because I do remember doing that. I with my first couple of years, I got a house, probably not fully paid, but I got into it. Like so, I was always financially very sensible. So I got my house way too early in my like early days when kids are probably like people are spending by iPhones and all. I started buying, like we do not iPhone then pretty much. I live. It's more about the choices we make. Now the safety thing comes into picture because this time the global like people are kind of like lots of firing is happening. Like this guy's fired, that guy's fired, massive layoff. So this guy, do you think after like been spending about 3 to 5 years time frame, would this guy be when my salary gets credited? Do you think this guy would be excited to buy iPhone? No. He's already bought those iPhones, probably would have already changed 2 or 3 iPhones by now. It's not that exciting anymore. The first timer was exciting. When the salary gets credited, would I be excited or probably planning to buy clothes? No, I already bought so many of them in my closet. The shoes, the parties and all that. Well, these things are already gone. These things are not even concerning me. You know what is concerning me is to keep the job. Keep the job. Why? Because I've already paid. I've already taken a car loan. I've already taken a home loan, probably by then. And now the scale, like, so I'm experienced, but not that experienced. So I have a big sword hanging on my head. What if there's a massive layoff? I don't have a job. So my core concern is about keeping the job intact. And these things don't excite me. My things which was going to be important to me is to what can I do to keep my job? I don't want to lose this job. That's what my needs have changed. My needs were physiological needs. But now these things, well, I won't say like you don't need an iPhone, you don't need a clothes. No, you already have them. So these needs are no longer your needs. But you already have them. The things have changed, your needs have changed because you want to secure yourself. You want to safeguard yourself. You don't want to lose your job, because what if you lose a job? Well, how would you pay your home loan? How would you pay the car loan? So needs have changed at this stage. So if you're talking to a guy with this kind of experience, you can't be talking about any other things, because this guy is more concerned about keeping the job. Let's say it moves on. This is something like 5 to 10 years time frame. Now this guy has spent some time now. Now during this period, people, the colleagues, the ones who are friends, close friends, they have been switching organizations, moving to this organization, that organization. Somebody switching the countries also and getting a better job, getting a better position, and you sort of stuck. You're not been getting promotions in this organization. You're expecting the promotion will come. You will get a hike, you will get a raise, or for that matter, a promotion, which is well due for you, but you're not getting it. And you are definitely itching, because you're seeing everyone is going out. Everyone is sort of switching the companies and getting good job, good position. You want to go out. You want to go out and explore. There's something still holding you back. And there are a lot of things which are holding you back. You definitely want to go out. You want to also try like your friends have tried, but something is still pulling you back. My comfort level. Because I've been working with this company for quite some time. I know the people, I know the culture. Everyone knows me. So it's sort of, if I get late for 5 minutes, nobody's going to shout at me. Nobody's going to be after my life. I know how to manage everything here, because lots of people we have developed a comfort level, understanding my work gets done over the phone. I don't have to send an email. Bottom line, good PR management. So some sort of comfort level have kicked in. I'm comfortable with this every setup and all that. But although I do need this. This is also my desire, my need. But some bit of comfort is pulling me back. A. B. It's like, say, you out of your 8, say if I have 8-hour shift, 8 hours per day is good amount of time. It's sort of your secondary home, and your, I would say, an extended family. You spend a lot of time there, so you sort of develop a bond between those people for those 8 hours you meet every day. You set a bond, like develop a bond also. Apart from that, when you want to switch over, you also have certain belongings. Well, if I want to switch over from this place, probably I have to go and relocate to a different place. Now things are pulling me back. My family, my kids, probably by then I would have obviously kids and all. So the kids, which are, well, because there will be a lot of changes done for them. So I will have to kind of keep that in mind, because now if I move, there'll be a lot of things, because those things, well, who will take care of my parents? Who will take care of my wife or my kids and all that? What will happen? So things are pulling me back. A, I want to be progressive. B, I'm being pulled down, because I really want to, I'm in a fix. But again, sense of belongingness is holding me back. Now, this is the period, I'll say like 10 to 15 years kind of time frame. Well, I don't care what you do. Bottom line, this is more about title, designation, CEO, CXOs, CTOs. But people will do anything possible to get the designation. I need that designation, because that's what matters to me now. Well, I don't care if you want me to switch this company or that company or this country, I will leave. You know, I'm okay. You do well within the same company. I'm okay. You don't increase my salary. Give me the designation. Well, I'm okay to work with lesser salary. Give me the designation. I will switch over to a different company for the designation for a lesser salary or the same salary. What matters is the designation, because it's a matter of pride now. This is pretty much why every other friend, every other person who started working or probably worked before me also, like who came in later, is also has been promoted and handling bigger things. And my designation is still assistant manager. There are companies like that where people have not been promoted for 10, 15 years also. Trust. I know some of them, friends, but they've been stuck. So I will do anything possible. What matters here is the designation. I need it. If you don't give me extra money, it's fine. You want to hire me at the same package, yeah, fine. Designation is what matters to me. So then comes the stage when we talk about like this is 15 plus years, where you are out of all of this. You've seen everything. You already have the 5 phones and all. You're no longer concerned about your jobs, because you've got too much of experience. Bottom line, the stage is already over. This stage you have already become a CEO, CXO, CTOs, CEOs, and all God knows what not. You've done a lot of things, but this stage has come into self-actualization. Well, we have probably by now I would have paid my my home loan, my car loan. I've got a lot of money in my bank account also. My kids would have also studied and they would have grown out of school and all. And practically, it's a stage where pretty much I don't have those liabilities left over, sort of thing. And now this is a stage where I'm trying to now look at my self-worth. What have I been doing here? Well, I look at giving back to society. Well, when I started this, like practically, this is the society, this is the people, practically this, because of them, whatever I'm able to do today, but what am I giving back to the society? So now we try to think on a different level altogether, where I look at, yes, value system will come into picture. Now we'll try to go and look into those aspects where what can I do in order to make things better for you. In PMP, this will come into picture, because in PMP, when you pass your exam, well, and you have your PMP certification is valid for 3 years. So within the 3 years, of next 3 years, you will be required to get 60 PDUs, professional development units. And what it means that you, in the 3 years, you will, you don't have to give an exam once again. After 3 years, you don't have to give exam once again. All it says that PMP says that when you get your PMP certification done, in next 3 years, you should not stop your study. You should not stop your professional development. So you should do investment. You should invest on yourself, like about 60 hours of which and this 60 hours are called 60 PDUs, professional development units. And that should be invested, so that you should invest in yourself at least 60 hours in 3 years in making yourself you better. And there are breakup how this 60 hours are distributed. It's not like you don't have to go and take up any more training. No, nothing like that. Even you say you're reading a book, that is also going to count here. You watch the YouTube channel, that is also going to count here. You had a discussion with me, pretty much like, for example, you discussion with somebody, even that can also be counted as the hours. If you can validate that, yes, that will also count. You have a mentor, you speak with a mentor, that time can also be factored. Bottom line, you're doing something. And so there are certain hours you can allocate this way. There are certain hours which are assigned for giving back to society. You don't have to invest 60 hours in only acquiring it. Giving back to society, this is where they will expect you to do well. What have you done in order to? So some hours, I get minimum 8 hours or something. That means probably you probably coach and counsel somebody. You gave somebody a feedback. Bottom line, so in 3 years, some hours are there. I guess it's 8 hours. Minimum you should have done in giving back to society, because they want you to have that mindset, develop that. Well, you become a project manager. You're doing good for yourself. You will, by God's grace, you'll do good for yourself. But now start thinking in smaller bit pace that you should try to contribute. Well, I do remember when there was definitely a very, very bad phase, financial period. Well, pretty much during my education period, I always felt, and you always think, you always commit those things. When the time will come, I will do this. Well, practically the time came when I got into the Six Sigma, and I met a lot of people who had financial challenges, and they were really brilliant people. I know that at least 10 people I can count on my finger, for whom I really matter, because I funded their education and they're doing wonders. They're probably doing the entry level job. But again, when we interacted with them, these guys were super brilliant, really talented, and that talent would have been wasted. And obviously I did not, when I funded, practically because I was the trainer, I had to speak with the institution and say, well, you can deduct their fee, and obviously a discounted fee from my fees, whatever, but let them work, let them study, and I will pay for the certification. So at least those 10 people, I know did I do it because I wanted to get some return? No, because I felt that's my responsibility. If I'm doing this job, and these people, that talent should not get wasted. And they're all doing great. They're doing great. When they joined, I could see the development, and that people have gone 300, 400, 500% of what they were earning. It is unbelievable. And I see this, when I see that growth, it is when you say, well, you did really do a good job. So that gives you motivation that, yes, you're doing right. So till that, so you don't go that extra mile for everyone. But when you find a real talent which needs that thing, then that self-actualization mode comes into picture. So obviously you're doing it for yourself. That you don't become a saint yourself. So it's not that I don't want to work for money and I'm not trying to make money for myself, but I do, whenever something kicks in, I don't try to shy away from my responsibility that need to contribute there. So in whatever shape or form, that self-actualization part will happen to everyone. Everyone does it. Everyone is a great human being, I'm sure. Well, whenever they have, and you must have been doing, not because of PMP, but again, we have been doing it. So as a natural process, everyone tries to contribute in some shape or form. So that stage always kicks in. So a value system will always prevail in any given day. But that's about needs. So it tells you, like, when you sort of dealing with people, try to understand the team member you're dealing with, which stage the person is in. So if somebody is in a stage of, say, esteem, you go and tell this person about safety and belonging, stage related. No, you got to talk to this person in that language. This guy is only talking about the position. You go and tell this guy about physiological things and what he can buy, materialistic thing. This guy doesn't care about it. Safety, no, this guy's got good experience. People know this guy in the market. Doesn't matter to him. Well, belongingness, I don't care. I can go anywhere. So try to understand which stage this person is in and try to strike a conversation depending on which stage the person is in. Don't try to have irrelevant conversation. Somebody who's in very early stage, going and telling him about the stories about CEO, CXO, and all that self-actualization. Well, practically, I'm trying to satisfy my own needs right now. Forget about you. You're telling me all this global things. Well, that will not make sense. So try to understand which stage the person is in and try to have a conversation which will make logical sense to them. So understanding the needs of the person is more important to be able to connect with them. That's what it talks about. Again, quick check on this one. If it's okay and clear. If it's okay, we shall call it a day. Again, that's pretty much. Okay. Okay, one more second, Diana, just want to check because you were the first one. Thanks for pointing it out. Is it better now? Well, from audio, the glitch, whatever we were experiencing. Because I just uninstalled during the break and I just installed the Zoom once again. Okay, perfect. So, all right, then let's do one thing. Let's call it a day. We just about another 3-4 minutes left over. So we'll resume from slide number 31 tomorrow. And yes, as I discussed, we really don't want to be going to because we have few slides, about 30 odd slides left here. Another 30. We can finish it though, but it'll be like rush. We don't want to doing it. We may not need a full day on Monday, but let's see. Well, whatever probably we'll need take 1 hour. We'll just take 1 hour. So let's go. But I rather want to have a discussion and then talk about the PMI application part. Yes. So let's finish this one. Let's park some time to discuss about what after this training. What will be step number 1, 2, 3? Let's discuss that on Monday. Okay. So I'll have IMC team informed like we'll have an extended day on Monday. Yes, let's complete that on Monday, then discuss about see, I would rather want to talk about if I was preparing for my PMP exam, what will be my modus operandi or my strategy. Let's discuss it, have a meaningful conversation, and then plan accordingly. We'll go ahead and talk about it. Yep, perfect then. Thanks everyone and good night, and please take good care of yourself. Thank you everyone. Good night everyone. Thank you.